kids are clean enough! The new Domino's tracker with GPS worked again!
2-item minimum. Pan pizza will be extra. Ask for this limited time offer. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
At US Cellular, we believe everyone should get more of the latest 5G technology for less of your hard-earned money.
Right now, everyone can get a free smartphone, whether you're a new customer or not, with no trade-in or hidden fees.
US Cellular, America's locally grown wireless. Terms apply. See uscellular.com for details.
Now that life is returning to normal, we have found a lot of good things that came from the pandemic. One of them is not having to go to the wireless store anymore. The Cellular Warehouse team has been in the business of delivering phones to your home and office for 20 years. People found out about our free delivery service and love the ease of getting a new phone, tablet, or hotspot. Call Toby Williams today at 252-799-7051 so you can start experiencing the joy of never going to a wireless store again. Cellular Warehouse, your local U.S. Cellular authorized agent. Weekends are made for A.J. McMurphy's. Start your Sunday fun day at A.J.'s. A.J.'s is now serving brunch from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and a build-your-own Bloody Mary bar. Enjoy your weekend with live music on Friday night and Saturday night with no cover charge. And you can catch all of the MLB and ECU baseball action on A.J.'s TVs. See you this weekend at A.J. McMurphy's, Turnberry Square at Bells Fork, and on Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat.
There's no better time to drive away with a quality pre-owned car, truck, or SUV from Greenville Auto World. Greenville Auto World is your authorized rough country dealer. We specialize in lift and leveling kits along with custom wheel packages. Whether you're looking for ground clearance or enhancing the appearance of your vehicle, trust our team for your off-road experience. Greenville Auto World, 3840 South Charles Boulevard across from Hardee's at Bells Fork, or online at greenvilleautoworld.net.
While you're sleeping, our whole hogs are slow cooking over wood to create that bite that Eastern North Carolina is known for. I'm Sam Jones, and for more than 3 generations, my folks have been the torchbearers for what whole hog barbecue is supposed to be. At Sam Jones, you'll find plenty of smoke, but no mirrors. Everything, and I mean everything, is made fresh daily, including our sides, sweets, and sauces. Come on over and see us at Sam Jones Barbecue, and I bet you'll be able to taste our passion in just one bite. Sam Jones Barbecue, Fire Tower Road.
If you missed Pirate Radio Live, you missed
Parker Bunch. You give your best effort in practice, you give your best effort in the game, and it doesn't matter the size or the speed. It's the effort that you give. And I got to tell you, that's going to take you far in life, Parker. If you take that in life, not just in baseball, there's nothing you can't accomplish.
Yes, sir.
Where does that come from? Where does that effort and heart come from?
Like I said, just being able to have an opportunity to play on the nicest field as Elm Street and just, having just that passion to go out there and give it all you got. Don't hold anything back.
Pirate Radio Live, weekdays from 3 to 6, right here on Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
Ooh, look at all that Parmesan cheese on that papadilla. Our freshly folded flatbread filled with juicy meats and melted cheese now has a crunchy, toasty outside. Now that's what's Papa. Order today at papajohns.com.
Hey Pirate fans, order the new Parmesan Crusted Papadilla for only $7. The new Parmesan Crusted Papadilla is an MVP move for game day or any day. Place your order online at papajohns.com and sign up for Papa Rewards. Papa John's, the official pizza of the ECU Pirates.
This is Pirate Radio, WGHB Farmville, 1250 and 92.7 FM Greenville, WDLX Washington, 930 and 104.1 FM Washington. The following is an exclusive presentation of Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation. Welcome to Pirate Radio Live.
You can paint this one purple!
Now live from the Pirate Radio studios in the heart of the Pirate Nation, here is your host, Clip Brock.
Welcome in to a Friday edition of Pirate Radio Live. Clip Brock here with you, coming to you on Pirate Radio 92.7 FM in Greenville, 104.1 in Washington. We are on 1250, 930. We're live online, PR927FM.com, and you can watch the show on Facebook Live and on YouTube. Subscribe to Pirate Radio TV on YouTube and watch us at any time. You can kind of watch us DVR style on YouTube, where if you go there, you can rewind the show to the beginning of the program. If you tune in on Facebook, the entire show will be available after we conclude today's episode. And we have a lot to get to on today's program. Some guests to talk to, including at 4 o'clock. We'll continue our ECU opponent preview. Today we will talk some South Florida football. Bulls are down right now. Can they bounce back from a one-win season a year ago? We'll talk to Jim Louk, the longtime play-by-play voice and the only play-by-play voice in South Florida football history. He joins us on the program at 4 o'clock. At 4:20-ish, we'll talk some golf with Mark Greenhalgh from the Golf Shop radio show, as we'll talk about what's going on the PGA Tour. Had Harold Varner III on earlier this week on Pirate Radio Live. We'll talk about HV3 and what's going on currently in the world of golf. At around 4:35 today, we'll talk to a former Pirate great, now the safeties coach at UNLV, Damon Magazu, famous for a lot of things, including picking off Russell Wilson in a game at Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium in overtime to beat NC State.
I don't remember that game.
We may have a state guy in studio right now that does remember that. Damon Magazu. Can't wait to catch up with Mags coming up in hour number 2. At 5 o'clock, the voice of Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium and Minges Coliseum, Morgan Ahlers, will join us on the program. Shirley Rhodes, Chandler Honeycutt are here. And joining me, as always, on Fridays is Tony Dunn, CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Hello, Tony.
Good day, sir.
Looking good today.
Thank you.
Hair looking great. C.W. Sloan also in the Pirate Radio studios. He is our resident fantasy expert and also a fan of the world champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Where's your Super Bowl ring?
It's in the mail. It's on its way.
Hadn't got here yet.
Nope.
All right. So Bruce Arians has his. The team has theirs. Yours is on the way. Welcome, CW.
Thank you. First time I've been in the studio in a while, so it's good to be here.
It has indeed been a while since you have been here. We will have a Bucs preview today, which we really don't need to do since they have the same damn team they had a year ago.
Exactly.
All right, I just wrapped it up.
There it goes.
We don't even need to talk
ahead.
to CW.
Chandler, let's call it a wrap. We'll be back at 4 o'clock.
We'll talk a little fantasy if we have time. We're starting to get cranked up for some fantasy league, so that's exciting. But first, we'll get to today's rundown. And how about and Tony, you're an ECU fan. You're not a huge college football guy. But are you aware of the shifting that's about to take place?
I heard it's Texas, right?
Texas
and Oklahoma going to the SEC.
It appears that is indeed going to be the case. And there was a great, let me pull it up real quick, a great bullet point article done by Bruce Feldman, Nicole Auerbach, Max Olson. And the bullet points on the article from The Athletic are Texas, Oklahoma preparing for an exit. Big 12 members pledge unity while also preparing contingency plans, including approaching the Pac-12 for a merger. Another bullet point is the American wants to poach the Big 12, and also the commissioner there in the Big 12, Bob Bowlesby, is silent on the issue.
I think this is awesome. I mean, could that SEC get any more relevant? Not relevance, the word is dominant.
It is not awesome if you're an ECU fan
or anybody other than
the SEC. Correct.
I was just thinking maybe Tom Dundon can finally use his app as the SEC becomes a semi-professional league.
What is
they are app? Basically remember he tanked the AAF
for like the in-game gambling or whatever.
So I mean, I think we've got one that's got the pedigree, the following, and the money. The SEC is now going to be what the AAF couldn't be.
It appears that this is the first domino to the 16-team super conferences, and then there's going to be 3 more of those. And there's going to be a lot of schools on the outside looking in.
I feel like they could just break off from college football and just make their own league. That's kind of...
There's speculation that the SEC is going to go to 16. The Big 12 is going to do whatever they have to do, maybe merging with the Pac-12. You've got the Big 10 who can add a few schools, and then the ACC will take a few as well and form these 4 16-team conferences. And at that point, they might just say, all right, this is our football league. You other guys go ahead and do whatever you want to do on ESPN Plus.
Yep.
That is the fear right now if you're East Carolina, if you're one of these other schools that has not been invited to the big boy table.
How's Arkansas get to be in that? That's not fair.
Location. I don't know. But It is. It's crazy, man. We've gone like
they have to pay $80 million each to leave.
Also, they're apparently the grant of rights goes through 2025. So there's going to be a lot of awkward football games the next 5-6 years
because we don't know what channel they're going to be on.
Well, no, because they can't leave the conference until then.
Oh, so this is just I got you. So every time like you play in another team that wants to also leave but can't leave, they're
like they meet at midfield, like take us with you. Can we go with you? Take us, please.
Please stay. They're trying to make up with them. It's funny is that someone was telling me it cost $80 million for each team to leave. And then when you hear that number, you're like, that's really nothing. Doesn't that sound that when you say, it used to sound like $80 million used to be a lot, like that's a penalty, but that's just like them paying a parking ticket to get out of the...
Like the Joe Exotic meme, I'll never recover financially from this. That's how we feel for those leagues. It's like chump change.
Parking ticket.
So that is it's going on right now, and it is full speed ahead. This came out like 2 days ago, that like the first word about it, and now it appears to be. Shirley, you said you read somewhere there could be an announcement on Monday. Is that right?
Yeah, Texas Longhorns, they've got kind of like a version of Hoist the Colors. They call it Horns 24/7, and according to their sources, Texas and Oklahoma are planning to make that announcement on Monday that they are leaving the Big 12.
It's the Big 12!
It was the Big 12. Now, what we need to do, we being ECU, what we need to happen is
get the Big 12?
Well, that'd be nice, but I don't think that's going to happen. The Big 12 dissolve, which we had, there was a report today that Kansas was reaching out to the Big 10 to potential, and vice versa.
Aren't there more than 10 teams in the Big 10?
There are 11.
Yes.
I wish they would just change their names at this point to be more descriptive.
Well, and in 2025, when all this kind of takes place, it probably will happen where they start really naming things differently.
Yeah, they're going to have like 4 new super conferences. The Super SEC, the Atlantic Coast Conference with teams in Middle America like Notre Dame. What are they going to change their name
so
to?
When they're a super, we have this thing at work when you have this special privilege on, like you can override stuff, and when they revamped the system, they didn't come up with good names for it, and one is super user, and the other one is just super duper user. That's what they call it.
It sounds like I've been watching a lot of Austin Powers recently, which is is it Elon Musk that went up into space, and he had the phallic looking spaceship, and it reminded me of Austin Powers.
That was Jeff Bezos.
Sorry, okay. He's got yeah.
Well, I mean, if you are going to go up in space and remind everybody.
Yeah.
But anyway, the thing is that when you call yourself a super conference, it's like, I'm a super duper user. We're in the super conference. So what does that mean when you're not? Every time somebody goes to somebody that doesn't have the power to do this, they go, well, I'm not a super duper user.
My point on that was that's very like Dr. Evil. Like, we'll call it the super duper conference.
Remember Mitch Hedberg? He used to say one of his jobs, he said, is that I wish I was an appliance namer. And he said, just put it in the fresher. Or he said, put it in. What does it do? It keeps it fresh. We'll call it a fresher. I'm going on break.
My neighbor keeps banging on the wall. Do not bang on the wall. There's no door on the wall. Please come around and use the door. Bang on the door and I will let you in. I like Mitch Hedberg.
R.I.P. Rest in peace.
Yeah. All right. So there's that OU Texas, and we're going to be talking about this a lot leading up to the college football season and throughout it as well. It was kind of funny. Was it a Big 12 mandate where they said you couldn't do the horns down anymore? It'd be a penalty. And now Texas is just leaving the conference. So can the players do horns down now and it'd be okay? Or
the SEC allows that.
Yeah, that's why they're moving.
They allow celebrations in the end zone. They allow payments.
Just straight up cash. Yeah, all of it.
And did you notice the Texas A&M, the interview I saw was with their AD, and he was just...
Oh, he's the only no vote out of the whole thing.
He was downtrodden because of what happened, because he wanted... I think he said he wanted the only team in Texas to be a part of the SEC. Now that... Big Brother's following him around with, between Texas and Oklahoma. He was mortified.
Yeah, there's like a vote amongst the presidents, whatever, of these schools, and Texas A&M is going to be a no. Missouri might be a no as well because they left that conference to get into the SEC. But outside of that, everybody's going to say, come on in. from a competition standpoint, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
But at the same time,
why would you lose those games to those awesome teams? But it's all about financials. It's all about
how many would generally say yes though because they can compete with the likes of Texas and Oklahoma. And granted, they haven't been
Alabama, LSU, Georgia. Right. There's a handful.
But we also realize what the ultimate end game here is, and that's the money that Texas and Oklahoma are going to provide the rest of the schools.
And the money that they'll get going to the SEC and creating.
I thought they already got a lot of money.
They do.
Texas,
they have a freaking Longhorn network.
Yeah, and that was supposed to be
nobody.
You know it.
Nobody watches, but
I'm with you, Clip. Is that it kind of seemed destined that the SEC is always putting in one team, probably two, and then you had what we say? It's the Big 12.
It's the Big 12.
It's the Big 12. That's always Oklahoma or Texas, right?
Actually, no. Since this started, the only team in the Big 12 to make one of the Final Fours is Oklahoma, and they're 0-4. So they saw the writing on the wall, saying,
Texas
"Look, we have no chance." Texas has been down for a long time, so I could see from.
But now Oklahoma's not even going to get to the playoffs.
Well, maybe it'll help their recruiting because they're in the SEC, and then you'll be playing those guys all the time.
They don't. I don't know. Well, think about that, Clip. You just
but they don't need help.
Neither Oklahoma nor Texas was going to be a problem for those SEC schools. Yet they're going to still bring in more monetary value. So of course they're all going to say yes. So it's really a win-win for them. Now, that doesn't mean Texas can't come back or Oklahoma might not finally win a game in the Final Four. But right now, with
I see why the SEC's doing it. I don't see the competitive benefit for OU and Texas doing it.
Well, if you look at it from their perspective, if they're not going to be able to be competitive, why not let's go ahead and make a lot of money in the process? Because what has happened over the last 12 years? They still haven't won, even when they were in the Big 12 by themselves. So again, I hate to say it all comes down to the money line. And if they haven't been competitive anyway, they're going to go ahead and try to make some money as quickly as possible.
By the way, the defending college basketball champions reside in the Big 12, and that would be Baylor. It was like, all right, see you guys, I guess. Thanks.
While they're getting more and more recruits, I'm sitting here reading an article today on Hoist the Colors that was talking about a guy who switched from defensive tackle to tight end, now to defensive end. Like, that's what we're dealing with.
Right. Yeah, we got some issues as well. And like you said, Tony, maybe the recruiting will improve. So instead of going to getting a 5-star guy, they'll get a super duper 5-star guy. So there you go.
It's a new tag.
All right, let's go to NFL. And oh boy, this is ugly, and it'll probably get uglier. Yesterday it was DeAndre Hopkins saying the NFL vaccination policies have him wondering if he wants to continue his career in the NFL.
Oh,
yeah, because they're not forcing the players to get the vaccine, but if you don't get it, you're going to have to jump through a lot of hoops. You're treated differently. You've got the scarlet letter on you if you're unvaccinated. Now, and CW, you're talking about this as we went on the air. That is not the case with the coaches. If you're a coach, you are forced to get the vaccine. You have to get it.
It's correct? A tier 1 coach, right? And I guess the way they describe the coaches are the ones who are constantly in contact with the players and are on the field.
The vaccine is required for all tier 1 staff,
correct.
Coaches, front office executives, equipment managers, and scouts.
Right. The ones who are physically in routine
So who's
contact.
a tier 2 coach? Is that like us?
Well, they're all
like just on Twitter.
All the coaches are in tier 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Tier 2 is the guy selling the hot dog.
And yeah, he doesn't need to be vaccinated.
Serper is a tier 2. So they are forced. Now the question becomes like, is it constitutionally right to force somebody to do this? I will say this. I don't want to get into a big political discussion, but like Pitt County schools, you have to have certain shots to go to school.
You do?
They are required. This is not the first time. Well, you are a teacher. You would know about this.
Yep.
It's been the first time ever people have been required to take a vaccine.
But you could just not go to public school then.
Yeah, you have the option.
I mean, you have the option.
Just like you have the option not to coach in the NFL, which Rick Dennison from the Minnesota Vikings took option B, door number 2. He is an assistant coach. Where is he? What's he coach? O-line, run game.
Offensive line coach, yeah.
Yeah. He is not getting the vaccine, and therefore he is out of the Minnesota Vikings. Wow.
I don't even understand this. Like at this point, when we're talking about, we just said $80 million doesn't sound like a lot of money. These people are saying, I'm going to quit my career over this. Give me this dang shot. Well, give me a bonus.
And I don't really understand why you wouldn't, like DeAndre Hopkins. I said this yesterday. Does he not want to get it because he's seen evidence of it having a negative impact on somebody's body? Or is it a case where he doesn't like being told what to do, where if you see a rule on a wall that says do not touch this wall, the first thing you want to do, you really want to touch that wall?
Well, I think it comes down to this, is that these players are in like top physical condition in the greatest years of their life, right? So they're the least vulnerable to disease, period, and COVID especially.
They can get over things a lot quicker than...
And their bodies, like, so the idea that this disease is a big threat to them, they don't see it that way, a lot of them. And instead, it's like this willing, putting something into my body that could have some sort of effect. I just don't, as we see all the things, as we see all these players get suspended throughout the year for drug use, for PEDs, y'all put worse things in your body than that shot. That's my thing.
I mean, that
if
is
it's going
true,
to be between me and
but they want
a good season, I would just be in line right now.
I know, but they want to put those things in their body. They don't want to be told to put this other thing in.
So maybe we should ban it.
Right. I think that's a good idea. Like telling everyone not to get the vaccine,
be suspended,
and then people will go get it.
Yeah.
I got two takes. Number one, let me go back to what you said about the school requirements. Those vaccinations have been around for years.
Forever.
They have enough statistical data and evidence to prove that get this shot and this is going to happen.
This
do not have that.
This is a little different. That's true.
To DeAndre Hopkins and Dennison's point, the coach who was let go, if they don't want to be test cases for this particular vaccination, I don't see how they should be penalized for it with their job. Again, I don't mind the fact that these players can go through the hoops that they've got to go through between wearing masks and the distancing and all that, but to lose your job for it.
Can I say something though about this point? This point about like it's rushed and we don't know all this and that. Half the things that we use in the world have very little statistical data about them. True. And just because a vaccine was invented 60 years ago, I mean, what was that they barely even we didn't have cell phones then. So it's not like it was like in the most technologically advanced era. Just because we've done it for a long time and ultimately haven't seen any reasonable side effects, we don't really know, to be honest. And it's like kind of saying, do we know if there's real long-term side effects from using a microwave? Well, we only have 60 years of data or 80 years of data. Mm-hmm. And how do you pinpoint it? There's some...
But to lose your job over it? It's a little bit tough.
Well...
For me to
are you an employee of the NFL? Or are you kind of like an independent contractor? I wonder how these contracts are structured in that way, because is that one thing is that you're willingly working with the NFL. The other is, are you employed by the NFL? Mm-hmm. And I don't know how it's, so there's a difference between someone who works at Pirate Radio and then someone who's contracted to do some work for you guys outside or on the building. And so they have to take care of their own health insurance and things like that. So I don't know. I mean, I certainly can understand that as an individual, having the government, one, B, a private entity, two, force you to do this. But C, you could opt to not work for them. Yep. I mean, it's like, what if you said this is, I don't like the dress code. And I mean, a lot of those guys do. They fine them for that.
Yeah, Rick Dennison can't show to a game naked.
Right. I mean, you have to, as the Jimmy John sign says, is we don't mind seeing you naked, but state code says you need to wear your shirts and your shoes in here.
I just think there's a level of discrimination that this country has been founded on for a long time that all of a sudden now we've just, for some reason, turned a deaf ear to. And, if there are a lot of reasons that you could say a person should not be employed by, this organization or this institution. And this has come on so quick. If Dennison's been an employee for the NFL longer than a year and a half, it wasn't in his contract about getting any kind of vaccinations.
Sure.
So to put this on him, and not being grandfathered by that decision, I
think that's a reasonable point.
I have a tough, it just doesn't sit well with me, especially when you're telling the players, the ones who are actually really the people, the entertainers that the NFL is making the money from, that it's okay for them not to take it. You just have to go through a little, a couple of these loopholes and sidesteps. But
Sir
coaches, I don't care what happens. You have to have it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mess. I'm just coming from the point of a football fan. I just want to see games.
If you're a libertarian as somebody and you would believe this is like an individual and constitutional issue, then I respect that. But for me, it's a practicality issue. And if it's about me making, I don't make a lot of money like these guys. For me, if that's the thing in the way of my paycheck.
So we fully understand, though, why the NFL said players don't have to have it, but coaches do. And that's because what if Ezekiel Elliott, Tom Brady, and I'm not going to say Aaron Rodgers, but we'll just say Aaron Rodgers. They all decide I'm not playing in 2021 because I'm not taking, I'm not getting this vaccination. Well, they're going to lose money. Denison, they're not losing money.
Yeah,
so we can also look at it from that perspective.
I don't believe any of the. I believe this is bluster by guys like DeAndre Hopkins?
Yeah.
I think it's sort of bluster. I mean, because when at the end of
he seems pretty headstrong about not getting.
There's only been like 2 players that I know have ever sat out. Right? Is Le'Veon Bell? And other than that, a lot of people say and threaten and say, but once the paycheck gets,
might be a third one here in a couple months.
You think Tom Brady?
No.
I mean, not Tom Brady.
Aaron Rodgers. He's leaning towards it. We'll find out next Tuesday.
All right, we need to move on.
Yes. Moving on. Running down.
Number 3 today, the Guardians. What's that, Tony?
Soccer?
No. It is the new Cleveland Indians. They're changing their name next year.
Oh, man.
The Cleveland
I have mixed feelings about this.
Guardians.
I know it's supposed to be more progressive on these issues.
But what?
But I just thought, as a kid, I mean, nostalgia, man.
Flip, you're just going from one political point to another.
I know.
For me,
by the way, we changed the format of the show. Coming up next, we have Bill O'Reilly.
Okay.
And then somebody from MSNBC to equal that out.
So the academic social side of me wants to like these things. The other side of me says I
traditional.
I sat Indian style when I was a kid. And now I got you say crisscross.
Did you play Cowboys and Indians when you were a kid?
But you got to say crisscross applesauce now.
Right.
So it's just nostalgia, man. That's it.
Guardians reflects those attributes that define us while drawing on the iconic guardians of traffic just outside the ballpark on the Hope Memorial Bridge. That, according to
read that again.
The owner, I believe. There's like a big statue thing in Cleveland. Guardians reflects those attributes that define us while drawing on the iconic guardians of traffic just outside the ballpark. And it's like a big. I saw a picture of it earlier today.
So, hot take. I think Major League is going to be in the top 10 on Netflix starting next week for nostalgia purposes.
Oh, man.
It's going to shoot up the charts.
So
it was a great logo, which is the most.
Here's my question. I have a problem with the name because when you think of Cleveland, Ohio, what is synonymous with Cleveland?
Right now, currently, you would argue, even though LeBron is in LA,
just the city,
just the city in general.
Shirley wants you to say the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame
because it's in Cleveland. So why?
The Cleveland Rockers.
Well, I was thinking something along that line. I thought my first thought was Cleveland Rockers, but then I thought, well, it might be a little bit too close to Colorado Rockies.
Rockies versus Rockers.
Yeah,
true.
So I thought, okay, but couldn't we do something related to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Because when you think of Cleveland, that's the first thing that pops into my head,
Cleveland
other than Cleveland Rocks by Cheap Trick. But other than that, the Guardians makes absolutely no sense to me.
Well, it does. Apparently, it does have some meaning. I don't really understand it all.
Not to us, though, because we don't live in Cleveland.
I don't get it.
I think they should be the Rockers, and they should have Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty as their
tag team.
I'll be in Canton next week. I'm going up there to see.
Congratulations! You finally made it to the Hall of Fame.
So thank you. I'm getting inducted with Peyton and all the good.
Awesome.
But no, I am going up there for the Hall of Fame and to see my stepmom and
cool.
And I'm going to get a beat on that and see what the Ohio
start floating the Rockers out there for us.
We'll do a man on the street poll.
Get on the streets and tell them we want to be the Rockers.
I got you.
So there you go. All right, and finally the Olympics. Do you care?
Well, I know, but aren't there all these things going on back with COVID now? Like there are like maybe the fans can be there now. That like I just heard something else.
There's zero fans there.
They're mad that they're furious that they're actually having the Olympics.
While they're having,
they don't want them.
Who doesn't want them?
Tokyo.
Yeah.
Why'd they ask for it then?
Well,
because like Rick Dennison, it was not in his contract that COVID was going to be
12 years ago.
So
when
what
they
did they want to do?
Postpone them, not have them.
Because they're not gaining the financial gain that they normally would because as he said,
they won't let no fans in there.
Shirley, East Carolina track coach and a musician in his own right, Udon Cheek, likes your Rockers name.
Oh, well, thank you.
So score one for the Rockers.
And as far as the Olympics goes, I am paying attention to the Olympics.
All right.
What do you pay attention
for three
to?
reasons. Well, actually 4. Okay, so you've got USA women's basketball.
Okay.
Women's soccer. Softball, because softball finally returned to the Olympics. And the high jump, the track and field version portion of the, well, I do like the gymnastics.
All right, that's the only thing I'm going to watch.
Track and field, because there is an East Carolina graduate that will be competing in Tokyo, Tanita Butts Townsend.
We're pulling for butts.
I was watching rowing last night. It's on right now.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, but like it was because also there was no other sports on, too.
All right, women's soccer, women's softball, women's basketball. Who has the best odds?
Out of the 3?
You mean the USA to win it?
Yep.
To win it, I would say...
Before this week, I would have said soccer.
You would have said soccer. And all of a sudden, they get a stick. And you got to give it to Sweden. When I looked at the bracket that the U.S. was in, I couldn't believe it. It was New Zealand, which that's a throwaway.
Yep.
But Sweden and Australia, who have been in the Final Four of the World Cup for the 2 of the last 3 times, that's insane. That's the dude.
Who else is good at softball?
Let's see. Well, Japan is actually very good. Italy is good. Australia.
And then hoops, we
United
dominate,
States.
Right?
In women's, we should.
Yeah,
although we
I think
we
that
haven't.
would be the one I would.
That would be the highest probability.
Right.
Because the parity in women's basketball is not. The gap's not as wide.
I think tomorrow is the do or die game for the U.S. is what Rapinoe said. I mean, they got to win.
They have to win in order to stay in the hunt.
They can't tie or lose.
Nope. And they just... And honestly, Sweden should have won that game by 5-0.
Yeah.
Because there were several saves that Alyssa Nair, they just destroyed that back line. I mean, just all there is to it. We did not play well, but the thing is that when the U.S. loses, it's usually not pretty for the team they have to face next.
Right.
So that's the only thing that I'm looking forward to.
On the next
and
game.
they do have New Zealand, so that's the one that they should be winning.
7-0.
Yep. Tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m.
All right, touchdown.
You'll catch me watching that game.
We got to take a timeout. We're not going to have time for any of the things we were going to talk about today. But no, we'll dive into some football, see if we got any Panthers news. I saw some K1 Short news, which is not Panthers news anymore, right?
Yeah, it's barely news.
Okay.
I can play football again.
And we'll preview the Bucs. How many starters from last year's Bucs offense and defense are returning this year? We'll ask CW that question and find out the changes, if any, they've made to this team that won the Super Bowl earlier this calendar year. We'll take a timeout, come back, and have more for you on Pirate Radio Live after this.
Hey Pirate Nation, Lindsay Gray here with Carolina Caliber. In 1960, my granddaddy started his firearm business right here in Eastern NC. Still family owned and operated, we have the area's largest selection for outdoor shooting sports and accessories and are one of the nation's top firearm dealers. At Carolina Caliber, we have everything you need from hunting, home defense, and personal protection, including a wide variety for ladies and youth. We buy, sell, and trade. It's a time-honored tradition. Visit us at Carolina Caliber on Fire Tower Road in Winterville.
Hey Birdland, experience an Orioles game this season with the convenience and privacy of your very own suite. Choose from an array of options and prices to gather with family and friends or entertain clients. Each suite features climate-controlled interior seating, a private restroom, and comfortable outside seating. Plus, enjoy the best views of Camden Yards. Suites can accommodate 8 to 22 guests. Capacity is limited, so select your dates and purchase tickets now. Learn more about single-game suites at Orioles.com/suites.
The convenience of Pitt Greenville Airport is waiting just outside your front door. Service is back, so you're connected to destinations worldwide through flights from American Airlines. Plan your next trip. Book your flights today at flypgv.com or aa.com.
Ready to travel and take a trip this summer? Avoid the long check-in lines and congestion at the big airports and fly local at PGV. Fast, convenient, and close to home, PGV has recently added more American Airlines flights. Book today at aa.com. PGV, where the pirates fly.
E&S Hemp Company in Winterville is your premier CBD store. At E&S Hemp Company, they have helped hundreds of people just like you get relief from joint pain, anxiety, insomnia, and more by providing you the highest quality of CBD products available. E&S Hemp Company has a great selection of only the safest, purest, and most beneficial hemp-infused products available from honey, tea, coffee, candles, and more. E&S Hemp Company, Fire Tower Road in Winterville, and online at eshempcompany.com.
Chico's Mexican Restaurant is the home of the best margaritas. Grab your amigos and head to Chico's every Tuesday for the Gulp of Mexico, a huge 46-ounce lime margarita for only $6.99. On Thursdays, relax and enjoy half-price pitchers of Chico's house margaritas. Choose from lime, strawberry, blood orange, raspberry, or peach.
For Mexican food and fun, it's got to be Chico's in downtown Greenville, and now available through DoorDash, featuring a half gallon of the famous margarita mix to go for only $9.99. Chico's, where the fiesta never ends.
UBE and PirateWear.com are proud to offer the Pirate Nation its largest inventory ever. Brand new Adidas is arriving daily, along with Under Armour, Columbia, and Russell Athletic. UBE is loaded with cargo, and new items are being added daily to PirateWear.com. Be sure to check out our children's store, The Crow's Nest, for all of your young pirates. UBE and PirateWear.com, an ECU tradition for 50 years. Go Pirates!
At Jimmy John's, we don't make sandwiches. We make the sandwich of sandwiches. We use fresh veggies because we don't hate salads. We just feel bad for them. We make our sandwiches exactly how you want because you're the one who's eating it. And we bake bread all day, every day because stale bread isn't bread. It's croutons. Sandwich history is written by the victors. Good thing we have legible handwriting. Jimmy John's, the sandwich of sandwiches. Order pickup or delivery on the app.
This is Stephen Igo. You've heard from me plenty on Pirate Radio Live and perhaps have read some of my work on HoistTheColors.net. Now, get an extension of our in-depth coverage on the Hoist the Colors podcast. From game previews to immediate post-game analysis to emergency podcasts for breaking news, we've got you covered. A cast of guest co-hosts from fans, former coaches, and other writers join me for 2 podcasts weekly to break down all things ECU athletics. Subscribe to Hoist the Colors now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Google Podcasts.
This is Coach Gary Overton, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
You're listening to Hour 1 of Pirate Radio Live. Save lives, be a hero, and make $1,000 your very first month donating plasma at Grifols Biomat USA. Start now at Biomat USA on 505 South Memorial Drive. A better donor experience and better pay. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back. As summer temperatures rise, water is a great way to cool down, and North Carolina State Parks would like to remind you to cool down at our freshwater swim areas and beach access locations. But please remember a few pointers for safety. Always swim with a buddy and don't swim alone. Swim in designated areas supervised by lifeguards. Do not trust a child's life to another child and never leave a young child attended near water. Even with all the water around, dehydration can happen. Avoid swim cramps by drinking plenty of water regularly, even if you're not thirsty. Cool down at your favorite North Carolina State Parks. You can check out ncparks.gov and plan your escape from the heat today. Now let's head back in to Pirate Radio Live. Here's your host, Clip Brock.
All right, back with you on Pirate Radio Live. Clip Brock, Tony Dunn, C.W. Sloan here, along with Shirley Rhodes and Chandler Honeycutt. Let's talk NFL news more so on the field. Of course, this is, and man, Domino 1 fell this week, and this wasn't even a training camp injury. This was a pre-training camp injury, as camps did open for a couple of teams, Cowboys and Steelers. Are you going to the game, CW?
No, I'm not.
That is less than 2 weeks away, folks. Your first preseason game.
I don't have tickets, but that doesn't mean I might not go. It's up in the air for sure.
But this week we saw that Cam Akers went down with an injury and will miss the season. And it's not funny, but like literally 2 Wednesdays ago, a buddy of mine showed up to trivia, which you guys are regulars at AJ's, and he said, "You know who my breakout is this year? Cam Akers." Cam Akers, I was like, well, I've thought about the Stafford and the receivers, but yeah, the running back's probably going to get some bigger numbers too. And sure enough, a few days later, he goes down to injury.
Thanks, Clip.
It is a bummer. Yeah, I guess I'll take the blame for that.
Well, you told me about it that night.
Yeah, I was like, hey, Cam Akers, and Cam Akers.
Because I was talking about we need to be eyeballing running backs. This is going to be tough to crack this running back code this year for me.
I saw some Panthers fans talking about this, the early schedule for Carolina. So new quarterback for the Jets week 1. Is it Saints week 2?
Yes.
And I saw Michael Thomas out. I was like, wait, what, did he get suspended? What happened? Michael Thomas just had ankle surgery and will miss and likely miss the start of the season, which could include that week 2 game.
I think he is suspended too. It's either that or who's that corner that plays for them?
He's not suspended.
No, who's the corner?
Tony
that
getting
plays
reckless with his NFL news.
I don't know.
Who's the big time corner for them?
Don't know.
For the Saints,
I don't know. You don't know. Why should I know?
I don't know that anybody's suspended from them.
Say his name again.
Marshawn Lattimore faced league discipline after being arrested on a stolen gun charge earlier this offseason.
You said no discipline?
Could be could face
he's going to
league
get 2 games too because he got caught with a stolen gun.
No, okay, he got caught with a stolen gun. He didn't steal the gun.
Correct.
Okay. So I was going to ask, why did a guy with that much money steal a gun? But
it was in Ohio too, I think. I do remember that.
So but we've already been eyeballing that as saying, hey man, this guy's going to be out for suspension. That's good news for us. Now you add Michael Thomas.
Are the Panthers 2-0?
And then they play the Texans.
Are the Panthers 3-0?
Maybe.
Poor David Culley. So that is that's news today. And in the article it said it is uncertain why he just now got ankle surgery. Kind of a weird time to, unless something popped up recently or whatever. Let's see. Any other news and any Panthers news this week, Tony?
Like you mentioned, K'Wan Short, who is former Panther.
Is he a free agent?
Yes. Okay. Battled with injury in his last 2 years. Has been cleared after, because he had shoulder surgery, I think, last year. So he's been cleared for football activity. So he could, a team that's trying to pad the defensive line might be looking for him. But no, when it comes to the Carolina Panthers, completely off the radar.
That's good news.
Which is a good thing.
Other news today, I guess Devontae Adams and the Packers are cutting off contract extension
collusion.
Now.
This is collusion.
I'm happy about this. The Packers need to stink. They've been good my entire life. They've had Favre and Rodgers. They're due for just a 10-year run of nothing.
I think Rodgers and Adams are working together now.
Is that your collusion call?
Yeah.
They're going to be a package deal?
Right, because if Adams signs, that's one more thing that they're going to say, well, we tried to make Aaron Rodgers happy. If Adams signs and Rodgers don't come back, it's going to be bad for his career. I think they're going to both try to go ball out this year and force their way out.
Isn't it crazy? Adams, I see he's 28, which can be considered prime a career, but for me, I'm like, man, he's getting up there. He's getting kind of old.
Yeah.
Like in NFL years?
I think the receiving years somewhere around 31, 32. So he's still got a few more years.
Running back, completely different.
28.
28 is a dinosaur.
When you hit 29 and 30, it's over.
All right. So you want to get to the Bucs preview?
Sure.
Okay.
All right. That's it.
My first question, CW, how many returning starters do the 2021 Bucs have that they had during their Super Bowl season?
Okay, so in the 54 Super Bowls that we've had, there have only been 2 teams in the history
such a football nerd, but
to have all 22 players return. The 1979 Pittsburgh Steelers, or the 1978 Pittsburgh Steelers, and what ended up happening the following year.
They won again.
Okay. And the 2020 Buccaneers. So you're really talking about...
So they have all their starters back.
All 22.
How did they financially do this?
Okay, so...
They're going to stink in 2 years. Well, you know that, right?
Well, let's go down through a couple of players that made this happen. We've got to start with Brady.
Tom Brady.
Okay, so naturally he could command $40 million a year if he wanted to.
He is the king of the pay cut.
The contract he had was a 2-year, $50 million contract, and so you're talking about $25 million, which is certainly a discount when you're talking about who he is.
True.
Then you start going through the rest of the defense, and the fact that we get one player, you know I'm talking about, who end up Shaq Barrett, who again could have commanded a lot more money on the free agent market. He took less money, but he put it on the back end. But his signing bonus was incredible, and he elected to stay in Tampa. I think one other team that was really pushing hard to get him was Cleveland. So that was really the only team I think that really had a chance. But
Levante David too signed a team-friendly contract.
The fact that he did it before the season, the season before last, and you're talking about a perennial Pro Bowl player as well, and he's again one of the best in the game.
So they have White at linebacker, Winfield Jr. in the secondary.
He's a second
Are
year.
those like rookie contract guys?
Correct. Devin White is going to.
So you're not even paying them a lot right now.
Right. And Devin White didn't even make the Pro Bowl last year, which is ridiculous. And so it's basically the draft that they were able to command this with, alongside the fact that Brady took the pay cut in order for the rest of this to happen to kind of fall into place. Gronkowski, go ahead. No, Gronkowski's, he's not getting. We don't really have a discount for him, but he certainly could have asked more and made money. And he actually said it. He had a contract on the table with another team, but chose to come back with Tom.
Isn't there is Wirfs? Isn't he an All-Pro guy?
And that was a rookie.
And he's on a rookie.
He was actually he was one of the top. Pro Football Focus rated him in the second half of the season as arguably the best tackle in the game.
So they do have a good young roster.
Correct.
But they're not going to be able to pay. Do you agree that maybe I was wrong when I say they'll stink in 2 years, but they're going to have to. They're not going to. Their roster is going to look completely different in 2024, right?
They're just going to bring in Aaron Rodgers.
But
I mean,
just plug him in.
But if you look at, so Jason Pierre-Paul, he's still on a small deal, but good enough for them to continue to compete. Pretty much all of these. Sue's on a 1-year deal. He's been on a 1-year deal the last 2 years. He elected to come back next. He was the one that I actually thought if we were going to lose anybody, it was him, and I'm okay with that because we haven't even talked about another player that played 2/3 of last year, was a rookie a year ago. He broke his leg or fractured his leg, came back, and he was dominant in the last third of the season. That's Vita Vea. And so if we lose Sue next year, we still have Vea on another contract that is reasonable.
So the only guy unhappy is Chris Godwin?
And Godwin is the one player. We were going back and forth between him and Barrett on whether or not to give the franchise tag. So that's the one that we gave the franchise tag to. Now, he's probably going to, if we end up winning another Super Bowl again, I can definitely see him walk, especially if Brady, starts to decline a little bit. But because he'll get paid. Yeah, he'll get paid.
Yeah.
And so, and make that note in the fantasy level that if he knows he needs to get paid the following year, this is like his last year on his deal, he's going to want the ball.
Are these guys really playing on a discount when you think about them not having to pay state income taxes in Florida?
It's part of it.
It's absolutely part of it. It's part of it, sure. $10 million of that would have gone to California or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
and there's something to be had with that. The first person I remember really trying to woo players and use that as a pitch was Warren Sapp when Keyshawn Johnson was a New York Jet, and he mentioned that in America's Game, actually, which is an incredible docuseries on the Super Bowl winners. But when he was trying to woo him, he tried to tell him all the stuff they had in New York, in Florida, including not having the tax. And of course, a few months later, he gets traded to Tampa.
Redbeard asked, "Why isn't many people?" Great grammar. Why isn't many people complaining about Bucks super team in the NFL, but everybody hates them in the NBA? I am complaining about it. Don't worry about everybody. Worry about me. I'm complaining about it. I think the books are cooked. They're doing something illegal to get all these great players there.
Really?
I don't even think they're that. I mean, they're loaded, but are you really? I mean, there's plenty of talent on the team. I'm not trying to argue that it isn't, but I don't view them as like a super.
Well, no, I don't either. They have a lot of guys. We said it last year. Like they're a 2014 All-Star team, or whatever. Yeah. Maybe even before then.
But if you went back to the beginning of the season and we fast forward to this discussion, you would have said, "No way were we having this conversation about all the different people wanting to come to Tampa." I mean, we were 7-5 before our bye week.
I think it says more about the individuals than what the team has done, because they are basically saying, let's give it another ride. And they're taking those cuts.
And this is all Tom Brady, dude. This is the aura of Tom Brady. He's like a gravitational pull to him, like Jupiter.
Well, let's not dismiss Jason Light either, the GM for Tampa. Of all the players we just named, over half of them were draft picks.
Yeah, you guys have killed it in the draft
in the last 3 years.
Yeah,
Godwin, Winfield, Vea, all of these guys were drafted. Yes. So, you just named 5 players that were, and then, of course, you talk about Antonio Brown. He's the type, Gronk is the type that decided to come back because of Tom Brady.
Who else has hit the draft and done a great job last few years? Washington. You know what we don't have? Tom Brady and
his gravitational pull.
Yeah. That is huge, and for him to play the season, what was the news about his injury, CW? Like, how was he really hurt? Was that
so? At the beginning of the year, he tore his MCL, not his ACL, and there have been plenty of players who have played through a torn MCL. But what has really gotten a lot of people riled up is the fact that not in 1 week in 17 weeks, not including the bye, was he on the injury report. And so that's and
ironically, it was not under Bill Belichick that this happened. It was when he was away from Belichick. That's a Belichickian
thing. Turns out it wasn't Belichick; it was Brady doing
cheating the whole time.
Yeah, deflating the ball, the whole thing.
Brady.
Good Lord!
How did Brady cheat last year that we don't know about yet?
He juiced avocados.
What's in that TB12 diet, CW? Are you on it?
I'm not.
Did you hear Big Ben's on a super diet that's is supposed to be more strict than Tom Brady?
I think he lost like 5 pounds. I'm like, you're 285 and you lose 5 pounds? Is that really
going to take off fitness with me, huh, man?
Hey, don't fat shame anybody, CW.
Speaking of the Patriots.
Speaking of fat shaming.
No, I'm not doing that. Week four is the New England Tampa. And I've already read some things about the ticket sales for this, and it's going to arguably be the most expensive regular season game in NFL history.
And what the second most expensive?
It's in Foxborough, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And it's going to be on Sunday night.
Yeah.
You know what the second most expensive regular season game is going to be? Week 10, when the Patriots come to Carolina, Cam Newton coming home.
Oh come on. No way.
9, but
okay, thanks.
Tony will be there.
I hope so.
How much?
It's going to be Mac Jones versus.
Then I'm buying
PJ
Walker. What would be your max amount of money you would pay to go to see that game, to be a part of that? Like, if you had to.
Can I cuss real quick?
No,
real quick.
I don't give 2 craps about it, but I see what you're saying. I've spent a lot of money to go to NFL games in the past.
The most I've ever paid for a ticket is $250. It was 2012. Peyton Manning came to play the Panthers, and
I was at that game.
And we're coming off of Cam's rookie year. It was so sensational, and then Peyton Manning came and shredded us. And we spent all of this money. And the guy that I go with all the time, he's an accountant in Charlotte. He makes a lot more money than I do. Has a lot of rental properties. He turned to me. He said, "Can we next year not pay this much for the tickets?" I was like,
and since he was accountant, he looked at Tony's financials and said, "Tony, you're in trouble right now."
Do you regret that? You got to see Peyton.
To answer your question, $250 is too much, but I'd paid like $300, to go see a good game.
Yeah.
I always regret going to any game when I remember I could have watched it in the air conditioning on television.
I know. You have those memories,
and
but
I'm so exhausted.
So the other point of this game is last year, and I don't know why they just chose last year, but I guess because he plays for Tampa. He averaged somewhere in the neighborhood of 268 yards a game. And if he follows suit in games 1, 2, and 3 and makes that average, game 4 is when he will break Drew Brees' all-time passing record. So did the NFL decide, let's put this game.
Oh, so you're saying it could be that game?
Yes.
Okay.
That is some serious
Can you
thinking.
believe?
They put more thought into that than their COVID protocols.
All right, we are out of time. Let's take a break because we got to get another one in. We'll wrap up the hour with CW and Tony when we return on Pirate Radio Live here on a Friday after this.
At US Cellular, we believe everyone should get more of the latest 5G technology for less of your hard-earned money. Right now, everyone can get a free smartphone. Whether you're a new customer or not, with no trade-in or hidden fees. U.S. Cellular, America's locally grown wireless. Terms apply. See uscellular.com for details.
This is Brandon Tate, owner and operator of Atlantic Wireless, an authorized agent for U.S. Cellular since 1997. Visit atlanticwireless.com to find the store near you. We go beyond the call.
Alone, chicken, onions, peppers, and cheese have potential. Together, they have a purpose, a destiny, and a name. Jersey Mike's number 16 Chicken Philly, because grilled to order makes a sub above. At Jersey Mike's, we take great satisfaction in getting that perfect meat slice. Yes. But we don't do it for fun. We do it for fresh, because slice to order makes a sub above.
To some, that may just sound like ice hitting heavy-duty plastic. But to a Bud Light legend, it's a signal that says it's time. Time to dust off the barbecue tongs and load up the cooler with 37 Bud Lights and an assortment of dips. Because it's time to take back all the fun we've missed. Welcome back, Bud Light legends. Let's take summer by the coolers. Cooler up at BudLightLegends.com. Enjoy responsibly. 2021 AB Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Save lives, be a hero, and make $1,000 your very first month donating plasma at Greenhalgh Biomat USA. At Greenhalgh, it adds up fast. New donors can earn up to $1,000 in your very first month. It's the easiest way to make extra money. Start now at Biomat USA, 505 South Memorial Drive, Greenville. Find your donor center at grifflesplasma.com. Make up to $1,000 in a month and save lives now at Greenhalgh Biomat USA. A better donor experience and better pay. North Carolina State Parks is proud to announce that they have partnered with the Hometown Strong program. Our visitor centers are now equipped with public Wi-Fi to help kids with school. Remote learning has become a critical public health measure in maintaining social distance and continuing to educate our young people. Take advantage of Wi-Fi and a hike at Goose Creek State Park or a day trip to the beach and access remote learning at Fort Megan State Park. For more information, visit hometownstrong.nc.gov.
Hey, Troy D here for my friends at Villa Verde. If you know me, you know I love being outside, but finding a good place to eat outside can sometimes be tough. Well, our pals at Villa Verde have fixed that. Not only does Villa Verde have awesome, unique, one-of-a-kind dishes here in Greenville, they also have a brand new outside dining area. And this outside area is sweet. It's covered, you're in the shade, and cooling fans are on. Enjoy the comfort and relaxation of dining outside with our friends at Villa Verde. Villa Verde on 10th Street, a platform for good.
I'm Michael Vaughn with East Coast Grading and Utilities. Many of you know my dad, David Vaughn, and his work in putting in subdivisions all over Pirate Nation. But East Coast Grading and Utilities is not just for those type of big jobs. We're here for the homeowners. Whether it's concrete, driveways, hauling rock, or sand, whatever you need, East Coast Grading and Utilities can get the job done. Call us at 252-531-7494 or check us out on Facebook at East Coast Grading and Utilities.
Hey Pirate fans, did you know there are thousands of special needs children and adults right here in our community that loves ECU athletics as much as you do? Robbie's Clubhouse is a local nonprofit organization that can turn your unused ECU tickets into a fun day for a family with special needs. If you can't make it to the next Pirate game, simply call 1-800-DIAL-ECU and donate and designate your tickets for Robbie's Clubhouse. Go Pirates!
This is Stephen Igo, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
You're listening to Hour 1 of Pirate Radio Live. Save lives, be a hero, and make $1,000 your very first month donating plasma at Greenhalgh Biomat USA. Start now at Biomat USA on 505 South Memorial Drive. A better donor experience and better pay. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back, Pirate Nation. Greenville's newest sports bar, Quarters Bar and Grill, is having its grand opening this weekend. They started at lunch at 11 o'clock this morning. Quarters Bar and Grill is right behind Krispy Kreme on Charles Boulevard and will be open daily from 11 a.m. until 11 p.m. The grill features 10 beers and seltzers on tap, over 50 beers in the cooler, plus the best gourmet burgers, hot dogs, and wings. Join Quarters Bar and Grill for their grand opening this weekend, and you'll be sure to have an awesome time. Now let's head back into Pirate Radio Live. Here is your host, Clip Rock.
All right, a few more minutes to go here in hour number 1, big hour 2 on tap with Jim Louk from South Florida, Greenie from the Golf Shop Radio Show, and Damon Magazu all going to join us coming up in hour 2. Wrapping up the hour with Tony Dunn, CW Sloan. CW, we're not going to have time to talk fantasy today. Maybe we can do a quick rankings. But what did the Bucks added? Gio Bernard. What else did they add this offseason to help them get back to the Super Bowl?
Well, Gio's the only free agent worthy of note, and it's important to also point out with Gio Bernard. I'll name these players for you: J.R. Redmond, Kevin Falk, Shane Vereen, and James White. What do they all have in common? These are all the pass-catching running backs that Tom Brady won the Super Bowl for. And, these guys are extremely valuable for a guy like Tom Brady. And so
Gio's a good fit for
right.
that.
I mean, he's been in the league 8 years, and I think 5 of 8 years he's caught over 40 balls of the five of the 8 years.
And we talked earlier, he doesn't have a ton of tread on the tires. I mean, he's played a lot, but he's never been the number one back. So
right.
He's still got some.
And he's not going to be the number one back in Tampa.
Yeah,
but,
like number 3,
but
right?
he's going to be utilized the way that I just mentioned, the 4 guys who've won Super Bowls. But Joe Tryon is a unique player. He's a Washington defensive end, the College of Washington, by the way, and he didn't play in 2020 due to COVID reasons. So he's fresh, and he's our first round draft pick, and he's just another wheel in the cog in terms of our defensive line.
All right, before you go, what do you have? Do you have like a top 10 fantasy? Very basic.
Yeah.
Who's the number 1 pick this year? Is it consensus?
CMC, easily.
No thought.
Nope.
I love
Christian
it.
McCaffrey.
Nope.
Okay.
And let's think about top 10 too, though. I mean, 9 of these 10 guys, if they're all going to have over 20 points a game as long as they don't get hurt and they play like they're supposed to play. These are the guys that don't win you fantasy leagues. So as long as you pick one of these guys out of that group, you're okay. You can't veer off too far.
When would you draft Travis Kelce?
I could draft in the first round, no problem. I would say after pick 6.
When would you draft your first receiver, and who is it?
My first receiver probably it's a comment. You can either go Tyreek Hill or Diggs. You can make a point for.
Would it be Adams before all this? Like, you worried about Adams?
If you told me Rodgers is playing right now, I still might take Tyreek, but Adams definitely has a case. It's any one of those 3 then at that point.
I beg to differ that one of these names won't win you a championship. Alvin Kamara won me one last year.
Tony was puzzled.
Well, wait a second. You got to take that in context. Tell them where you actually had Kamara in your draft.
In the 14th round
3 years ago.
Which actually helps his argument more than yours, Tony.
Right.
Sorry. Quarterback 1 is Mahomes.
Yes.
Who's number?
Josh Allen.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I have not looked at rankings. This is all new to me, so I haven't really thought about it.
They were. If you take the aggregate average for Mahomes and then you take Josh Allen's last year, you can't really take his rookie year. They're within like a half a point difference. So really, again, those are the guys that do not win you your league. If you're doing a redraft standard league,
then don't draft them, folks. Don't draft these players. They will not
draft them where they're supposed to be drafted. But you got to hit on the sleepers in the mid rounds.
We know that, CW.
Okay.
This is very basic. We're doing
your audience might not know.
101.
Who else you want?
Keep it simple. I don't know. No further questions.
Oh, how about this? Give me a number 2 running back. Like, who's somebody that we're eyeballing in rounds 2 or 3?
Antonio Gibson.
He's a 1. If you don't get him in the second round, he's done.
That's what he said. It's round 2.
But he's not an RB2, though.
Okay.
Right?
No, hold on. You're talking about a backup running back?
Like the second one you run on your roster. You get your first one.
Again, we're talking about 2 different things here. He's talking about a starting running back that's an RB2
Oh, an RB2 on your fantasy team. Okay,
yes.
I got you. All right, here's a name. I don't even want to throw you're both in my league, and this is killing me. Trey Sermon.
He would have been off my radar. I don't even know he plays for.
I don't even
drafting him.
If you watched him play against Alabama,
I know.
I
know his college tape.
It's basically an NFL team if you talk about Alabama. So he can play against the good teams. He's going to be playing in a run-heavy offense. He's with the San Francisco 49ers. Now, Raheem Mostert's going to be the quote-unquote first-week starter. As long as neither one of them get hurt, he'll end up with more carries, more yards, more touchdowns.
What about Najee Harris?
Najee Harris is going to be somebody
That's who I've been eyeballing.
I pass.
Oh.
Here's why I pass.
So you'll be able to get him.
Okay.
Pittsburgh was ranked 30th in the league in terms of their offensive line of PFF rankings, and they didn't. In fact, I don't even know if they got any better.
They are disgusting in short yardage situations. It almost hurts to watch them try to get 1 yard.
And this is not an aberration on him as a player. If he went to another team who had devoted their time on running the ball, I would be all in favor of him. That's the one team I think are not going to showcase him the way that I think he'll have.
Final question. Scotty Montgomery leading the charge at running backs coach for the Colts. Why are you buying the Jonathan Taylor top 5 running back, top 5 overall?
He killed it for me at the end of the
It's interesting. The last 5 weeks, he and David Montgomery were in the top 5 in fantasy football. If you talk about the last third of the season. But if you went to week 9 and week 8, he had less than 4 fantasy points per game.
So it feels like something Tony talks about a lot. You always base it on last year, and in this case, you're basing it on the end of last year to carry over to that. And I don't.
There was somebody that stole
I would not draft him
his
that high.
But let's also look
glory in those mid games. What was his name?
Naeem Hines or
the case against Jonathan Taylor is all of those games that we talked about at the end of the season. They were bad teams. He racked up over 200 some yards against Jacksonville. Yeah. So a lot of that you got to take in context. And what if those games were at weeks 1 through 5 and he ended off with 37, 27, and
oh yeah, he'd be down in the
he'd be in the third round.
Yeah,
right. The same with Chase Claypool.
Do they still have
been able to beat me?
Not with my team.
They still have Hines and Mack too, right?
Correct. Mack is actually going to be healthy now. Yeah,
Taylor. I can't.
And Frank Reich already said we're going to take the hot hand. Doesn't that scare you a little bit as your first pick?
If you're, I don't see it, but what do I know? All right, CW, we'll try to get you on before you go back to school and talk more fantasy.
Sure.
And Tony, we'll see you next Friday.
Later, man. Thanks for having me.
C3 podcast every Tuesday night. Check it out, folks. We'll take a time out, come back, talk some college football. Speaking of Marlon Mack, he went to South Florida. We'll talk some USF Bulls football.
First play against NC State, 80-yard touchdown.
Oh, yeah?
I was there.
What wide receiver went to NC State and South Florida, CW? Current NFL receiver.
Don't know it.
Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Ooh.
I didn't know he went to NC State.
Stone hands.
I'm pretty sure he did, yeah. All right, we'll take a timeout, come back, have more for you after this.
The Pirate Radio Podcast.
Coach Jeff Connors. Steve Logan wanted, and same thing with Bill Lewis, their priority was they wanted the team to be highly conditioned. We won a lot of games in 91 in the fourth quarter, and I think that's something that we were somewhat known for. There was no other coach that I ever worked for that allowed me to run the team the way that I ran them under Bill Lewis, under Steve Logan, and particularly Steve.
Listen to every Pirate Radio podcast now by visiting our podcast channel and subscribing in Apple iTunes or SoundCloud. The Pirate Radio Podcast is powered by White Claw Hard Seltzer, proudly distributed by Coastal Beverage.
Although innovative new resources such as digital media and social networks have grown in popularity, smart marketers recognize that printing is a mainstay.
We live in an age of computer hacking, scams, and fly-by-night businesses, so it's reassuring to consumers when they receive printed marketing pieces.
It exemplifies business confidence and conveys a high level of commitment.
It also fosters trust, which leads to engagement and ultimately brand loyalty.
When you're ready to grow your business, come to PIP, where business goes to grow.
You've worked hard to start your business and working even harder to make it successful. And that's why it's important to have a bank in your corner when you need them. This is former ECU baseball player Ashley Capps from Select Bank and Trust. And as the business world throws you curveballs, we're here to be responsive to your needs. Our team of local bankers can make local decisions and cares about you, the customer. Get the business services that are right for your business today with Select Bank and Trust. Bank local, bank select, member FDIC.
Hello, this is Talbot Green with Angel Oak Home Loans. Now's the time to take advantage of the opportunity to buy more home or refinance your current mortgage at historically low rates. The combination of our local team's experience and Angel Oak's wide offerings of products from standard conventional, government, and portfolio loans has something for most financial situations. For more information, call Talbot Green, Joanne Weir, or Wanda Hager at 751-2060.
NMLS 1719250, Equal Housing Lender.
Ahoy, mateys! To keep those cars clean, you need the Pirates Cove Fast Pass.
Greenville's original express car wash is now offering a fast pass for as low as $19.99. That's one pass, 4 locations, and unlimited washes. Visit us in Greenville on Fire Tower Road, Memorial Drive, and East 10th Street, and also in New Bern on Glen Burnie Road. And by popular demand, Pirates Cove on Fire Tower Road is now offering interior cleaning.
So we have you surrounded. Pirates Cove, the official car wash partner of ECU Athletics.
Hi, this is Jeff Charles, and welcome inside the booth. A couple of Major League Baseball players are having unreal seasons. Some thoughts next.
Baltimore Orioles baseball.
Pitch here, swinging a drive, deep left field from Wins. Back to the Crawford boxes, and gone! Another 2-run home run for the Orioles. Austin Wins goes deep against Garcia. Second home run of the season for Wins, and the O's are pouring it on. 13-3.
Catch all the O's action right here on Pirate Radio, your home of the Baltimore Orioles.
Can you really believe what Mets pitcher Jacob deGrom and National slugger Kyle Schwarber have done this year? Let's start with deGrom first. Entering this month, he had made 13 starts, throwing 78 innings, giving up just 30 hits while striking out 122 batters and walking just 11, and had a 0.69 ERA. Insane numbers. How did he ever lose 2 games? But he did. Speaking of insane numbers, how about Schwarber? He went on a tear last month that was unreal. He hit 12 home runs in 10 games. No one in the history of the game had ever done that. The ex-Cub had 25 home runs entering July and 261 at-bats. You can do the math. That's a little over a home run in every 10 at-bats. He's on pace to have a 50 home run season. Every once in a while, guys will have career years. It's magical when it happens, and such is the case this year for deGrom and Schwarber. Come on back again next time, and we'll visit inside the booth.
This is Pirate Radio, WGHB Farmville, W224EI Greenville, WDLX Washington, and W281CH Washington. You're listening to Hour 2 of Pirate Radio Live. Do you need custom t-shirts, apparel, or promotional items for your business, organization, or event? Keep it local. Print it local with University Sportswear. Contact them today at universitysportswearenc.com. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back. Jersey Mike's is open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner. You can order in the store or online through the Jersey Mike's app. Jersey Mike's, a sub above. And Clip, as we head back into the show, this just popped up on my Twitter feed. Patriots assistant coach Cole Popovich will not be with the team this season in a decision that was related to COVID vaccine and NFL guidelines, according to ESPN. So this is the second coach we've seen today exit programs due to guidelines that have been issued by the NFL in regards to COVID.
Number 2, over under, I don't even know what to set it at, but 2 today, and training camps haven't even opened up for 30 of the teams. So over under 9.5. Do you think we reach double-digit coaches who don't coach this season?
There are a lot of coaches in the NFL.
I know. I don't know what number to put it at.
You say over. I'm going to go under because I'm thinking maybe 8.
Okay. Chandler, what do you say? Chandler, what are you doing today, by the way? Are you okay? You left the camera on during the break.
I can't hear you.
I picked my nose. I did a full thumb in the nose, and then I look and I'm on camera.
It wasn't even a Seinfeld. It was a full-on thumb in the nose.
You're not going to acknowledge this conversation?
No. What did you ask me?
You know what? Don't worry about it.
All right.
I don't like your attitude.
Tell me during the break. Hey, can you stop?
Oh!
You are throwing things at our audience.
All right, let's...
That's called 3D, baby.
Let's talk some Pirate football. And, about an opponent ECU will play this year. The South Florida Bulls will continue on with our ECU opponent previews in 2021, and the Pirates will take on the Bulls of South Florida, and Jim Louk has called every South Florida football game. He is the only play-by-play voice for the Bulls, and he joins us today on the Fixed NC Live line. Jim, welcome back to Pirate Radio. How you doing?
Thanks, I'm doing good.
Well, Jim, let's talk about the Bulls, and we'll look back at last season, 1-8, and boy, what a year for a coach to get his feet wet. First year as a head coach, and that's exactly what Jeff Scott had to go through in 2020. It was not an easy year for anyone. And Jim, if you could pick a year to be about the worst possible scenario to start your head coaching career, it was probably 2020. So I don't know what it would have been like without COVID, but that certainly didn't help Jeff Scott in year one.
No, it was a pretty bad scenario, actually. You bring in new coordinators, new offensive and defensive philosophies, young team, and then you get literally one practice in spring before things shut down. You kind of limp into fall with COVID. Your non-conference schedule blows up, so you wind up adding Notre Dame on the road as your opener. So pretty tough. Obviously it's the things that everybody went through last year, and everybody had their challenges, but I think USF was probably in a extraordinarily vulnerable place to have all this stuff happen. So it was definitely a difficult year. They're hoping to build with a little normalcy this year. It was great to have 15 spring practices and have an actual spring game this year. So they're hoping to hit fall a little more organized, a little more understanding of what they have, and probably a little bit more ready to go than they were a year ago.
Talking to Jim Louk on the Fixed NC Live Line, looking ahead at the South Florida Bulls football season. And Jim, let's talk about who's coming back for this South Florida Bulls team. We'll start with the offensive side of the ball. Who are the weapons there that Scott's going to be counting on this year to have a better season in 2021?
Well, quarterback's going to be the big question, as it was last year, was very unsettled last year. They have a lot more depth. They have a lot more options this year, and it's going to be one of the things to really watch in fall camp. I think the top two candidates are probably Jaron Williams, a former starter at the University of Miami, started there as a freshman, and Cade Fortin, the North Carolina transfer who was with the team last year, and I thought was on the verge of winning the job last year when he got hurt and got knocked out for the season. He had a very good spring spring game as well. So I think those two are probably at the top of the list. But there's also an intriguing freshman named Timmy McLean who is just electric. He's a left-hander. I don't know what their plans are going to be for him in his true freshman year. Down the road, he's going to be a guy that definitely factors in. Whether he will this year or not is a question. Running back, I think you'll see a lot of Kelly Joyner again as he comes back. Darian Felix, the transfer from Oregon, is healthy this year, should help a little bit more than he was able to last year. Wide receivers, probably Xavier Weaver, the guy that is at the top of the list there. And the offensive line comes back at every position, so they're hoping for a little continuity there and some good play out of the big guys up front.
Bulls were able to put up some points in 2020, but also, Jim, as you know, gave up quite a bit of points. It's tough to play defense in 2021 in college football, but how do the Bulls kind of shore up that side of the ball in 2021?
Well, they've got to find a pass rush. I think that was the core of the difficulties last year, is that they didn't get a lot of sacks. They weren't terribly strong against the run, and they just didn't get any pressure on the quarterbacks. That, in turn, put some extra heat on other areas of the defense that were a little vulnerable as well. So I think that's the biggest thing. They have some good linebackers coming back. That will probably be the strength of the defense. They have some transfers coming into the defensive secondary that I think will help a lot too. But the big story defensively is, can you get any pressure on the quarterback?
Jim Louk joining us on the Fixed NC Live Line. The 2021 South Florida Bulls will open up with North Carolina State right down the road west of here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Jim, a tough schedule last year. You talked about Notre Dame and having that game added. This year in the non-conference, NC State, Florida at BYU. Doesn't look much easier in 2021 for you guys.
No, it's really difficult, and I think that's going to be the big storyline for this year because, in watching this team, I think they're going to be much better than last year, maybe dramatically so. They're going to be deeper. They have more talent. They have more flexibility. They have the advantage of having a full year leading up to game one, which they didn't have last year. But the schedule is so difficult that I think it's a fair question to ask, how many wins does that improvement translate into? I think it's very clear that this program is going in the right direction. Jeff Scott has done a lot of things, not only in recruiting, but also culturally, and he's really gotten things turned around and headed in the right direction. But it's still a young team. There's still key positions that are unsettled going into fall, and it is a really difficult schedule. So we'll see how it plays out, but I think the optimism about this team kind of turning a corner and getting started in the right direction is very valid.
Jim, I was listening to a show, and they were kind of previewing the season and talking about what they want to see this year, and one of the guys on the show said, I want to see 2007, which was complete chaos across college football, and that made me think of South Florida, number 2 in the nation at one point there in 2007. And Jim, you've been around a while. You've seen the ups and downs. You've seen a ton of success there at South Florida with the 6 straight bowl games under Jim Leavitt, and also 4 straight bowl games from 2015 to 2018. So you've seen some ups, you've seen some downs. It's just one of those things where it's tough to maintain that success, and I think South Florida and their football program's a good example of that.
Yeah, it was such a good run in that 2007 era. People tend to forget in 2008, the next year, they hit the top 10 as well. And they were, nationally ranked in the top 25 up to a couple of years ago. They had back-to-back bowl wins in Birmingham. So there's definitely an opportunity here. It's a great recruiting base. There's a lot of things going on that make the program very appealing. But you have to sustain it. You have to navigate through the changes and the conferences, obviously, and also in coaching staffs. And it is a challenge to try to stay at that level that USF was at one time. But the fact that it's happened here, the fact that they've filled stadiums and they've been top 10, and it's a long list of teams they've beaten in their history, Florida State and Notre Dame and Auburn and on. It makes you believe it can happen again, and the Bulls faithful are hoping Jeff Scott is the guy to do it.
Jim, let me ask you about a couple of national stories before we let you go, and this is not being discussed as much now with the conference realignment stuff, and we'll get to that in a moment, but the talk about a college football playoff going from 4 teams to 12 teams. You look at it last year, Cincinnati from the American would be in, and if you go by the rankings, Coastal Carolina, who is one of the quote-unquote have-nots, would have been in. So if they do make that shift to 12, it looks like it's going to help teams like East Carolina, South Florida, Cincinnati, and otherwise, and really for the first time, Jim, have an opportunity to get a seat at the table. There's been chances to get to a BCS bowl game in years past, or get to one of those New Year's Six bowl games, but never play for a championship. And if they go to that 12-team format, that could change. And I know folks in Tampa have to be happy about that.
It'll change everything, especially recruiting. I can tell you, USF spent 8 years in the Big East from 2005 to 2013. And I can tell you for a fact that, one of the big pitches that the coaches made in that era out on the recruiting trail is, you can come to South Florida and play for a national championship. And, with the landscape changing in the last few years, that's been a different storyline. It will make a tremendous difference in recruiting and donorship and all the things that really make programs fly. It would be huge. There's definitely enthusiasm here for that happening, and I'm sure there is in Greenville as well.
Yes, sir. And finally, Jim, the news that could potentially be even bigger than that if the SEC is able to poach Texas and Oklahoma from the Big 12, and this feels real. Big 12 officials had a call on Thursday as they got together, and OU and Texas were invited to the meeting but declined to participate. Sources told ESPN. This is from Heather Dinich and Mark Schlabach from ESPN. So, Jim, this came out just a couple of days ago and kind of out of nowhere. At least I hadn't heard anything about it, and now it's starting to feel more real, and that's going to have a huge effects for college sports and college athletics if OU and Texas are able to go to the SEC.
Yeah, we all know from history that when these things happen, it's not one move. It's one move leading to another. And I've always thought, when the next one happens, and whenever that is, and you're right, who saw this coming? Virtually nobody. But, when the next one happens, it might be the seismic one that really changes the landscape even more than the past reshufflings have been. What does the Big 12 look like if this happens after this? Does anybody else try to load up and get to 16? And in that group of power conferences, if they're going to go looking, the sensible place is the American. We know that.
Yeah.
So, who knows what's going to happen? It's going to be fun to sit in the grandstand and watch it, that's for sure.
Jim Louk, USF voice, joining us on the Fixed NC Live line. I guess coming to us from Titletown. Jim, you had the Rays in the World Series, Tom Brady and the Bucks winning the Super Bowl, the Lightning. A lot of winning going on down there, Jim.
Yeah, it's been really fascinating because a lot of those franchises have struggled at times in their history, and to have them all kind of hit the heights at the same time has really been something. USF kind of did their part with a bunch of conference championships this year in the American that the university is very proud of, but they got to get it going in football, so that's going to be what they're really focusing on this fall.
Jim, appreciate your time as always. We will check back in with you the week of the game, October 28th. East Carolina will take on South Florida, so have a great rest of your summer, and we'll talk to you this fall, Jim.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Jim Louk, voice of the South Florida Bulls, joining us today on the Fixed NC Live line. Speaking of voices, and maybe the best voice in the AAC, Harry Donahue will join us next week and talk to him, and he still has those booming pipes. I talked to him earlier today. Going to try to get him on to talk some Temple Owls football coming up next week on the show. And roll on with our opponent previews as we head into the football season. 42 days away from kickoff, East Carolina and Appalachian State. We will take a timeout, come back, talk some golf when we return. Mark Greenhalgh, Golf Shop Radio Show, joins us on the other side. And Damon Magazu coming up later on this hour. Stay tuned. A lot more Pirate Radio Live to go. We're back with you on a Free Beer Friday. More details on that in a moment when we return after this. Down East Wood Ducks baseball is back. Come out Saturday, July 31st for the Beach Jersey Giveaway, presented by Lenoir Community College. Free to the first 1,000 fans. Be sure to purchase your game tickets in advance at woodducksbaseball.com or call the Wood Ducks offices at 252-686-5164. See you at Granger Stadium when gates open at 5 and first pitch is at 6. Go Woodies!
Hey, Troy D here for my friends at Villa Verde. If you know me, you know I love being outside, but finding a good place to eat outside can sometimes be tough. Well, our pals at Villa Verde have fixed that. Not only does Villa Verde have awesome, unique, one-of-a-kind dishes here in Greenville, they also have a brand new outside dining area. And this outside area is sweet. It's covered, you're in the shade, and cooling fans are on. Enjoy the comfort and relaxation of dining outside with our friends at Villa Verde. Villa Verde on 10th Street, a platform for good.
Hey Pirate Nation, this is Tom Brown from Brown & Wood Buick GMC Truck. We've been serving the Pirate Nation in Eastern North Carolina for 83 years. We have 4 brands, 3 generations, 2 showrooms, and 1 goal to make sure you leave a happy customer.
This month at Brown & Wood, get a 2021 Buick Enclave and save over $6,000 off or 0% for 72 months. And as always, Brown & Wood is the home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
We're located on Greenville Boulevard next to the Convention Center, or shop us online at brownandwoodauto.com.
Warren's Hot Dog Pizza, homemade lemonade.
Hey Pirate Nation, Warren's Hot Dogs 2 locations are open for business in Greenville and Chocowinity. Both locations have drive-through windows, so stop by today for hot dogs, pizzas, subs, apple and peach turnovers, homemade lemonade, and breakfast in Chocowinity, featuring homemade cheese, ham, and chicken biscuits, plus sausage dogs and more. Warren's in Greenville across from Ron Ayers Motorsports, and in Chocowinity next to the fire department. Warren's Hot Dogs. Want some? Get some.
Hello, this is Michael McGraw from Orthopedics East and Sports Medicine Center of Greenville. We offer a variety of services including arthroscopic surgery, sports medicine, carpal tunnel and general orthopedics, fracture care, total joint replacement, physical therapy, and on-site MRIs. For experienced professional medical care, visit our office on W.H. Smith Boulevard in Greenville and online at orthoeast.com. Orthopedics East providing services to ECU and Pitt County Athletics for over 35 years. Go Pirates!
Have you ever seen those exotic aquariums like the guys do in Las Vegas on television? You ever thought about having one of these aquariums in your business? It's more affordable than you think. This is Hal Pruitt with rentafishtank.com. We can make having an aquarium in your business turnkey with no work, cleaning, or hassles for you. Rentafishtank.com creates a relaxing atmosphere and keeps children occupied. Rentafishtank.com already services many dental, pediatric, and doctor offices, plus hospitals and senior living centers. Check us out at rentafishtank.com.
Hey Birdland, on Saturday, August 7th, when the O's take on the Rays, join us to celebrate our favorite mascot, the Oriole Bird, with a bobblehead giveaway. Be one of the first 20,000 fans, 15 and over, to receive the Oriole Bird Mascot Hall of Fame bobblehead presented by Pepsi. And arrive early for the pregame ceremony celebrating this year's Orioles Hall of Fame inductees, including J.J. Hardy, Mike Devereaux, Joe Angel, and Mo Gaba. Visit the Orioles Ticket Marketplace at Orioles.com/tickets to buy now.
Do you suffer from pain, anxiety, or sleeping issues? Eastern Healthcare has a solution for you. Eastern Healthcare is the premier CBD store with retailer quality products to help with any ailment you might have. They carry nationally recognized brands such as Curative's Delta 8, CBD Distillery, and Charlotte's Web with a wide variety of delivery systems.
This is Adam from Eastern Healthcare. Come visit our store at 2245 Stantonburg Road across from Vidant Hospital or call 227-4199. Eastern Healthcare. Wellness starts here.
Hey everybody, this is David Glenn, and you're listening to my favorite station in Eastern North Carolina, Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
You're listening to Hour 2 of Pirate Radio Live. Do you need custom t-shirts, apparel, or promotional items for your business, organization, or event? Keep it local. Print it local with University Sportswear. Contact them today at universitysportswearenc.com. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back. The Tarboro River Bandits are back. Come experience the best collegiate baseball around this summer. They're only 20 minutes from Greenville, and the River Bandits have a beautiful stadium, family and kid-friendly atmosphere, great food and drink specials, plus the coldest beer in the East. For more information or to purchase tickets, visit TarboroRiverBandits.com. Now let's head back in to Pirate Radio Live. Here's your host, Clip Rock.
Back with you on PRL. Just saw on Twitter some brown and white highlights from the basketball tournament. Brown and white taking on Team Hines.
Is this the TBT tournament?
Yeah.
Okay.
And brown and white are former players from St. Bonaventure. So
Okay.
I got my squad. Go
some former Bonnies.
Go Bonnies. Go former Bonnies. So there you go. All right, let's head out to the Fixed NC Live line and talk some golf as we do each and every Friday with Mark Greenhalgh from the Golf Shop Radio Show. He joins us here on Pirate Radio Live. Greenie, how you doing today, man?
Oh, wait.
Let's try that again.
Okay, yeah.
Greenie, are you there? How you doing, sir? Oh, boy. All Let's
Did we
try
lose
to call him back.
Oh, there he is.
Hey, Greeny.
Doing good, man. How are you guys doing?
There he is. Doing great. Appreciate you joining us here on a Friday. You can catch the Golf Shop Radio Show Saturdays, 8 to 10 here on Pirate Radio in the AM. And Greeny, always bring up Harold Varner III with you. He is a Pirate, so we talk about him quite a bit. We had him on the show earlier this week. He joined us on Tuesday's edition of Pirate Radio Live. Said he might take a few weeks off here and return when the PGA Tour is in Greensboro for the Wyndham, so might not see him for a few weeks. And he talked about his standing right now in the FedEx Cup. He was 69th when we talked to him earlier this week, and how he wanted to make a play there for the end of the season and be in line to play that last week of the golf season. Greeny, what are the qualifications for that, to be able to compete there the last weekend of the season?
Yeah, so, they used to have 4 playoff events. Now they got 3. So you start with the Northern Trust, the top 125 and the points left get in.
Okay.
And then after that, they cut it down for the BMW, which is the top 70 in the points. And then the Tour Championship is the final 30 in the points. So, Harold is right there, like he said. Now, he's projected to fall to 75th. As it stands right now with, live standings.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be just on the outside looking in of the second event. So, if he's going to take a couple weeks off prior to Greensboro, which, he's been busy, so that's not a bad thing. And maybe some home cooking there in Greensboro and get him rolling and get a good high finish. And, he'll be in the first event. So what he really wants to do is kind of use Greensboro as a springboard to play well there, get himself in position to play well the following week at the Northern Trust and certainly get himself into the BMW. And, of course, if you rip off 3, good tournaments in a row, you have a chance to maybe sneak into that top 30. But, for him to do that, it's going to take probably a couple of really high finishes, and I'm talking not even top 10s, probably like at least a 5th-place finish or something like that to get him in consideration to getting in that Tour Championship.
Only one top 5 finish for Harold so far this year, and looking to finish strong for this 2021 PGA season. Greeny, we talked with you last week about your predictions for the rest of the weekend at the Open, and you basically said it's all dependent on the weather there. And as we talked to Harold, he said it was beautiful over there. No conditions, no wind, no that, and none of that, and it led to some low scores. And the lowest of the low was Colin Morikawa, who was able to win his second major last week, winning the British Open. I believe Greeny, they said his second major in 8 major events. Is that right?
Yeah, 2 and 8 now. And,
wow.
And the first person ever to win 2 majors in their first attempt. So, because this was his first British Open because they didn't have it last year. So he won in his first PGA appearance ever, and he won his first Open Championship ever. First player to ever do that. So some serious history there. Don't know if that will ever be matched just because, it would have been a little difficult last year, maybe, coming off a PGA Championship to turn around and have to play an Open Championship potentially right after that if they were able to squirrel that one in. So just, I think, an interesting dynamic, and this is one of those records that may last for a while, but you never know.
Talking to Greeny, Mark Greenhalgh, Golf Shop Radio Show, the 3M Open going on right now. Greeny, what, if anything, are you keeping an eye on at this event going on in, where are they, up in Minnesota? Is that right?
Yeah, up in Minnesota. This is one of those events because you're coming off a major championship that a lot of times, maybe the strength of field isn't all that great. And this is an opportunity for guys that may be on the outside looking in. I mean, for instance, right at the top of the leaderboard, you got a couple guys, Bo Hoag, Ches Reavie, both, Bo is at 125 starting the week in the FedEx Cup points, and Ches Reavie's at 119. So, these are a couple of guys that need a high finish, and you also got Roger Sloan, who's at 147 on the outside looking in. So, like you said, another opportunity for these guys to, maybe with the top players not around, wiggle their way into a really high finish, get themselves either into a slot for that Northern Trust or at least get close and give themselves a chance. So that's kind of what I'm looking at this week is to kind of see who's playing good and see if anybody can get on a roll as we head towards the end of the season.
A little golf talk with Greeny. We talk some other topics as well. And Mark, all this could change in the next 30 minutes. Things are fluid in the college football world right now. Your Clemson Tigers aren't thinking of going to the SEC, are they, Mark?
Not anymore. Years ago, they were trying to think about doing that.
Oh, yeah?
Opted against it. Yeah, there was some talk years and years ago that Clemson was going to swap over to the SEC, and it didn't materialize. So I think it's I've said all along, it's interesting. I had a thing years ago where I talked about 4 16-team conferences. I was actually trying to put something together today that looked at that, and I'm almost thinking, I saw somebody put out a 5 conferences of 16 teams, and I wasn't necessarily sold on that. I like the idea of 4, and I don't know how you do something like that. I'm almost thinking that maybe it has to be 4, and maybe it goes to 24-team conferences, and inside those conferences, maybe you have 4 6-team divisions. You're playing 5 conference. Obviously you're playing the 5 teams in your division. Maybe you go play 5 or 6 teams outside of your division, rotating around kind of like what the NFL does. And then next thing you know, you've got 4 division winners that have kind of a semifinal and a final for their conference. And then those 4 conference champions go play a semifinal and a final for the national championship. So to me, that's kind of a system that gives you, maybe populate some of the bowl games that maybe traditionally aren't that great, because you have potentially 16 games and then 8 games, and then and it just kind of works out. So we'll see how this kind of thing plays out, but it's definitely going to shift the landscape of college football, that's for sure.
No doubt about that, and we get nervous when we hear things like that. Schools like East Carolina, even UCF, USF, Cincinnati, these schools in the American who have been left out in past years, and if they go to 4 16-team conferences, will likely be left out again. So it's nervous times for schools like that.
Yeah, and when I was starting to put in those 16 teams, I mean, it was interesting. You start looking at who's on the outside and who's not. I mean, is Vanderbilt in out of the SEC? I mean, they've been in the SEC forever, but you don't think of them. You kind of think of them as a pushover in football.
Yeah.
There's a lot of there's several teams. I mean, Appalachian State was a juggernaut in one level down, and now they've committed to Division I. So what do you do with a team like Appalachian State? I mean, you had Coastal Carolina showing up last year. You had San Jose State going undefeated last year out of kind of nowhere. So where do you put them? I mean, if there's 16 teams out west, they're not one of the 16 teams that I would consider. So, college football could be a different dynamic. I mean, realistically, they should break away from the NCAA and do their own thing and leave the conferences for basketball and hockey and and softball and track and field and all the other, and soccer and all the other sports. Because I don't think if you make this giant shift with with large conferences, I don't know if it necessarily works in other sports.
Tim Brando has always said we needed a college football czar. Maybe you can put in your resume for that, Mark. You got some ideas there.
Yeah, I have a lot of ideas. No one ever listens.
Greeny, what you got planned? We will be listening Saturday, 8 to 10 a.m. on the Golf Shop Radio Show. What do you have planned for Saturday?
Well, we're going to do a couple things here. Obviously, we're going to talk to our man, Bill Bender, the Sporting News. We're going to talk to Dustin Johnson's longtime coach. So this is not the Butch Harmon that's kind of helped him out a lot more recently, but Alan Terrell's kind of been with DJ from the start of his professional career. He does a lot of things. He runs DJ's school down in the Myrtle Beach area. He also helps run the golf tournament. So we'll find out from Alan if DJ's game truly is coming around. And then we're going to talk to the GM of Twin Cities and get a live update on the 3M. And then we're also going to talk, because it's in the Carolinas, the U.S. Junior Amateur, and Pete Kowalski is going to give us an update on that one over in Pinehurst.
Packed show coming up Saturday. Golf Shop Radio Show. You can hear it right here on Pirate Radio, 8 to 10 a.m. Mark Greenhalgh is joining us. Greeny, thanks for your time. As always, enjoyed the football talk. We'll be mixing some of that in as we get closer to football season with you when you join us on Fridays.
There you go, Clemson, Georgia, right out of the gate for me here in Charlotte. So we'll do it.
There he is, Mark Greenhalgh, Golf Shop Radio Show, joining us today on the Fixed NC Live Line. Let's take a time out. When we return, we will talk to former Pirate great, who we hadn't talked to in a while. He is now the safeties coach at UNLV. Damon Magazu, Mags, will join us on the Fixed NC Live Line when we return on a Friday edition, a free beer Friday edition of Pirate Radio Live. That's right, we got some awesome giveaways for you today. How about the Citrus Variety Pack Bud Light, And also the Bud Light Seltzer Retro Summer Limited Edition tie-dye pack. That can all be yours and a lot more goodies when we give that away later on in hour 3 of Pirate Radio Live. Damon Magazu joins us right after this. The best place in Greenville to unwind after work and have fun is AJ McMurphy's. AJ's has daily food and drink specials and an awesome patio perfect for some outdoor dining. Stop by AJ's on Monday for open mic, music on the patio on Tuesday, sports trivia with me, Clip Brock, on Wednesdays, and music bingo on Thursday. AJ McMurphy's, Turnberry Square at Bells Fork, and on Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat.
White Claw Hard Seltzer. A wave of refreshment. Crafted using our unique brew pure process. Made pure. Nothing tastes like White Claw Hard Seltzer.
White Claw Hard Seltzer. Available in 5 fruit flavors, 2 grams of carbs, gluten-free, and 100 calories. Find it at whiteclaw.com. White Claw Hard Seltzer. Nothing tastes quite like it. Proudly distributed by Coastal Beverage. Please drink responsibly.
Hi, this is Karen Staten with AG Home Solutions. Thinking of remodeling? We are your one-stop shop for all your home design needs. Our AG Home Solutions design team has over 25 years of experience. Need a new bathroom or kitchen? Looking to upgrade your cabinets, countertops, tile, or flooring? The Design Center is open to all homeowners and contractors. Call us for an appointment. Visit agshomesolutions.net and mention Pirate Radio to receive a $100 discount through the end of August. AG Home Solutions, turning your remodeling dreams into reality.
Although innovative new resources such as digital media and social networks have grown in popularity, smart marketers recognize that printing is a mainstay.
We live in an age of computer hacking, scams, and fly-by-night businesses, so it's reassuring to consumers when they receive printed marketing pieces.
It exemplifies business confidence and conveys a high level of commitment.
It also fosters trust, which leads to engagement and ultimately brand loyalty.
When you're ready to grow your business, come to PIP, where business goes to grow.
Wait up. Papa John's has a new stuffed crust. Oh, we did it. All our tweets, DMs, and carrier pigeons worked. This ain't just stuffed crust. This is Papa John's crust. Stuffed.
Hey, Pirate fans, order the new Epic Stuffed Crust one-topping pizza for only $12. And now you can have the stuffed crust as an add-on to any large hand-tossed pizza. Place your order online at papajohns.com and sign up for Papa Rewards. Papa John's, the official pizza of the ECU Pirates.
Do you suffer from pain, anxiety, or sleeping issues? Eastern Healthcare has a solution for you. Eastern Healthcare is the premier CBD store with retailer quality products to help with any ailment you might have. They carry nationally recognized brands such as Curative's Delta 8, CBD Distillery, and Charlotte's Web with a wide variety of delivery systems.
This is Adam from Eastern Healthcare. Come visit our store at 2245 Stantonburg Road across from Vidant Hospital or call 227-4199. Eastern Healthcare. Wellness starts here.
Did you know time spent outdoors can help improve your children's health and bring balance to their life? The Outdoor Heritage Advisory Council invites you to join the Patch program. This program is for any child under the age of 16 and includes activities like fishing, hunting, and hiking. These are just one of the many ways you can earn the exclusive patches from the Outdoor Heritage Council. For more information on how to sign up and get your adventure started, visit outdoorheritage.nc.gov.
There's no better time to drive away with a quality pre-owned car, truck, or SUV from Greenville Auto World. Greenville Auto World is your authorized rough country dealer. We specialize in lift and leveling kits along with custom wheel packages. Whether you're looking for ground clearance or enhancing the appearance of your vehicle, trust our team for your off-road experience. Greenville Auto World, 3840 South Charles Boulevard across from Hardee's at Bells Fork, or online at greenvilleautoworld.net.
Pirate Radio, Pirate Radio. Pirate. Pirate. Pirate Radio. Pirate Radio.
You're listening to Hour 2 of Pirate Radio Live. Do you need custom t-shirts, apparel, or promotional items for your business, organization, or event? Keep it local. Print it local with University Sportswear. Contact them today at universitysportswearenc.com. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back. Hey, Pirate Nation, Greenville's newest sports bar, Quarters Bar and Grill, is having its grand opening this weekend. They started today for lunch at 11 a.m. Quarters Bar and Grill is right behind Krispy Kreme on Charles Boulevard and will be open daily from 11 a.m. until 11 p.m. Quarters Bar and Grill features 10 beers and seltzers on tap, over 50 beers in the cooler, plus the best gourmet burgers, hot dogs, and wings. Join Quarters Bar and Grill for their grand opening this weekend, and you'll be sure to have an arg-some time. Now let's head back in to Pirate Radio Live. Here's your host, Clip Brock.
Alrighty, back with you on Pirate Radio Live here on a Friday. Got Morgan Ahlers joining us at 5 o'clock. Got a Free Beer Friday giveaway. How about a 12-pack of Bud Light Retro Summer Seltzers and a 12-pack of Bud Light Citrus Variety Pack. Also, we'll throw in a Bud Light shirt, a Pirate Radio shirt, some koozies, a hat, and a large 2-topping pizza from Domino's. A huge Free Beer Friday giveaway, and we'll do that coming up in the third hour of today's program. But we'll wrap up hour number 2 and talk to a former Pirate, a fan favorite, a great player here, and now a coach in Division I college football, Damon Magazu, joining us on the Fixed NC Live line. Mags, welcome back. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, brother. Hope you are well.
Yes, sir. We're all doing fine here in Greenville. How are things out in Vegas, Damon? What's it like living there?
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. I've been blessed to luckily have some family out here, my aunt and uncle, which is a blessing to be able to have some family here. And the city, Las Vegas natives and the surrounding city of Henderson and community. I mean, it's amazing. There's a lot more to Vegas than what everybody pictures, which is just the Strip. So it's been a blessing being out here.
Damon, I heard it's hot, but it's a dry heat. So how do you compare and contrast the hot summers in eastern North Carolina you spent working out on the football field compared to those summers out in Vegas?
I'd say the summers out here is like being in a convection oven. The summers out there in Greenville is like trying to breathe through a straw on that hot field. So there's just two different kinds of heat, but you gotta learn to adapt and be in either one. But try to just stay out the sun during the summer hours out here and get stuff done in the morning or at night, if you're going to be out there.
Yeah, that's a great description there. Damon Magazu joining us. Damon had ECU defensive coordinator Blake Harrell on earlier this week and talked about a lot of things, including getting back to somewhat normal, and that includes spring football and that includes face-to-face recruiting. So how different has this offseason been compared to last year, Damon?
Obviously, last year was challenging, not just in sports, but just in general for everybody. But it has been extremely refreshing to have, some guys on campus. And I think we're all kind of over the Zooms and FaceTimes and everything. So it was good to just see people, eye to eye and look their parents in the face and have real conversations in person. And then nonetheless, being able to have spring ball with our guys. It was our first off season, for us as a new staff here at UNLV. And so being able to do more things in spring and implement some different things and get some more reps in and slow it down for our guys has been huge.
Damon Magazu, a 2-time All-Conference USA DB here at East Carolina, now coaching the safeties at UNLV. And Damon, you also spent time with a former Pirate coach, Lincoln Riley, at Oklahoma. Of course, Oklahoma in the news right now. Might get your take on that in a moment. But what was your time like there in Norman, Damon?
It was amazing. A couple mentors on that staff, being Coach Riley, Coach Ruff, obviously, who I played for, the GAM, as everybody knows. And then, Coach Grinch coming in, just being able to be around those guys and pick up on small things that they may not even know that, a young coach in the profession was watching. And, being able to sit down with, obviously, Coach Ruff all the time. We have a very close relationship and bounce things off of him and even Coach Grinch, so it was a blessing to be around those guys and see how they can, compete at an extremely high level, obviously, but also do it the right way, and have a culture, that brings everybody in, from the top all the way down to the bottom, and the players, and a true family culture, which is something that I believe in. And so it was a blessing to be out there and learn how to get things done at a high level and the right way.
And Damon, it is tough to see you. I'm looking at you in that red tie on your bio. It's tough to see you in red, but at least it's not the NC State red that Coach Ruff is wearing right now. But one of the all-time great guys for sure, and a great coach here at East Carolina. And Damon, your father was a coach. You mentioned Ruff, Riley. As a young coach, I'm sure you're a sponge and kind of taking things from everybody that you learn from, all your mentors. Well, what's that like? Kind of taking a piece from Ruff, a piece from Lincoln, a piece from your dad, and trying to make it on your own as a coach?
It's fun. I mean, it's fun. It's challenging, because not everything is going to work for you, individually, and what you believe in to your core. And so it's fun to be able to pick the brains of those greats and hear every take that they have on every little thing, and then being able to piece that together to make it your own. One of the coaches on staff here was laughing when I was, coaching the DB or the safeties here, and he said, "You got an O-line type mentality when you coach." And I was like, "Well, yeah, that makes some sense." Being raised by an O-line coach, and so it's so fun to just take some of those things from each guy, and that's what we do in the profession, anyways. We all take a little bit from somebody else and try to make it our own. In some way, and it's fun, it's challenging, but you also got to look at the guys that you have in your room. They're all different as well. So
yeah,
it's not all what you believe in; it's what you believe in paired with what is the best for your guys, so they can, achieve high levels on and off the field. So it's constant, restructuring as far as. Little things here and there, but the core stays the same. You try to just continuously build and adapt around that.
With your background, Damon, did you know when you were making plays on the field at Dowdy Ficklin Stadium that coaching was in your pretty near future? You got your degree at ECU, so did you have any other plans, or was coaching always the route you wanted to take?
Coaching was actually originally something that I did not want to get into, and the only reason for that was obviously having a lot of talks with my dad, and it's time away from family, and eventually when I do have kids or plan to have kids, when that comes into play, and he kind of steered me away from that, believe it or not. And then I worked in corporate and IT staffing for a year and a half, and with a phenomenal group and company, and I loved the people there, but there just wasn't that competitiveness that I needed, and the brotherhood, and the everyday challenges and the process that I was so used to and that I loved. And, I was able to talk to my dad a little bit more over time, and I decided, that's what I wanted to do. I had to get back into it. I don't have a passion, for anything else besides football, and so I just wanted to be around the guys, be in a locker room, be on a coaching staff, and help young guys grow and develop both on and off the field. And that's the biggest thing. That's the most promising thing in this profession to me is having the ability to positively affect these young men's lives.
Well, Damon, you got some years under your belt now, so you're getting more experience, but also you're young enough that you should be able to still relate to today's players. And also, I was wondering about this. Do you ever pop on the film of you? If I intercepted Russell Wilson, I'd show that to everybody I met. Do you pop that on for recruits, for your players in the film room, and say, "Hey guys, I could go back in the day"?
I really try not to. Every once in a while, they will ask me, "Hey, pull up some film," and it's hard enough to find it. It takes way too long, and we don't have enough time to try to find it.
Yeah.
But I really try not to. I will jump in some drills and stuff and compete with the guys. Just, it brings a different aspect to it, and trying to challenge them and do some different drills during individual with them, and, try to create some competitiveness, but still have fun while we're getting work in. And that's the big thing for me is just keep refreshing and keep it fresh for them, so it's not the same thing over and over again. And I will continue to say this: Raheem Morgan does not get enough credit on that play. All right, and I'm going to stand with that till the day I die. He rerouted the heck out of that guy. So you guys got to give Raheem Morgan some love.
It takes all 11, right, Damon? And you were the one that made the pick, but a lot of guys, including Raheem Morgan, big hitter here at East Carolina, to make that play in overtime against NC State. I'm curious, Damon, when I think UNLV football, the first name to come to mind, and it looks like it's the only retired number there, is the quarterback Randall Cunningham. Now, I didn't watch him play at UNLV. I watched him in the pros. I also see that Ickey Woods, the creator of the Ickey Shuffle, was a UNLV running rebel. Do you ever see any of those guys? Have you been able to meet those guys at all, Damon?
Not within this past year, obviously, with COVID, so everyone was kind of on lockdown. But I know some of those guys want to be around the program, and I know Coach Arroyo wants them around the program as well. So I do see that in the future of these guys coming around and being around here and being around our guys and letting our guys be a sponge to them. So we're definitely looking forward to that as a staff, and I know our guys are too.
Damon, Rick Smith joins us. He was on the U.S. Sailor Fifth Quarter Call-In Show last year. He's a weekly guest during football season, and he's talked about you quite a bit. He is a great storyteller. Do you have any good Rick Smith stories for us? What are some interactions you remember with old Coach Smith?
Gosh, Coach Smith is the best, and him and my dad actually were good friends and coached together a while ago, and that was one of the big reasons that I initially committed to ECU was to play for Coach Smith with the coaching change.
Yeah,
there's plenty of stories that I have, but I'm going to keep those between myself and Coach Smith.
We'll let him tell the stories. He can certainly tell them as all the experience he's had, and yeah,
he can.
Look forward to hearing more from Coach Smith as we get closer to East Carolina football season, just 42 days away. Damon, when is your opener? I believe you're playing the same night, that Thursday night, right? September 2nd?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, we are Thursday night against Eastern Washington, and they're a heck of a team. They got a lot of talent. So we're just right now we're focused on us. As I'm sure you've heard me say before, Cliff, right? We're just focusing on what we can control right now.
There you go.
And that's just putting the work in, and then excited to get rolling into fall camp and have a little normalcy of a camp and get that work in and continue to improve. And that's what we can control right now.
And Damon, you were a good interview. You were good to talk to after games, after practice. But even then, you kind of talk like a coach. We'd rather talk to like Zeke Bigger, who would just say everything. We could talk to him for like 8 minutes. He was great.
Yeah, I've never been much of a, interviewer and whatnot. I just wanted to be around the guys and put work in and the same old stuff, Cliff. And I try not to ever vary from that because there's some success in it. And so that's just what I try to focus on.
Hey, stick with what works. You are there in the Mountain West, and I don't have to tell you, but great season by San Jose State last year, running the table in conference play. Of course, we know all about Boise State. Nevada has a great program. So UNLV trying to get up there with those big guns in the Mountain West. That's a heck of a league you're in, Damon.
It is. There's a lot of talent, a lot of phenomenal coaches. But the thing that is going on here is we got a lot of alignment, not just from the city, but from our administration, all the way from Coach Arroyo down. There's a lot of alignment and good things going on here with our new $36 million building, our $2 billion stadium that we play in.
Wow.
So there's a lot of good things here with a lot of momentum. And now we just got to continue to put it together. And like I said before, this first off season was huge for our guys, and we're just going to continue to build on that.
Damon, I know your dad was with the Broncos for a while. You got the Las Vegas Raiders out there, so I don't know if you're allowed to root for them, but do you plan on checking out any Las Vegas Raiders games if you have time this year?
I would love to be able to, but time during the season is spent in the office and then sleeping in my bed. That is about it, brother.
You know what? It took me a while to figure that out when I first started talking to coaches and stuff. I'd go out there to practice, and Donnie Kirkpatrick's a fellow Washington fan like myself. So I'd be like, "Hey, Coach, you watched the game on Sunday?" And he was like, "Well, no, I was watching film. We had practice." Like you got. I guess I just assumed since y'all are football coaches, you watch every football game. But no, it's work season, right? Damon really never stops, but especially August through January, I guess.
That's exactly right. It's locking up the submarine and you pull that tight, and then you'll breathe when you come back up in January.
Damon, before we let you go, your take on your career at East Carolina. What kind of stands out? Whether it's in the locker room with the guys, whether it's on the field with the screaming Pirate fans. What stands out to you about your great career here in Greenville?
I would say one of the biggest things was just being blessed to have the people around me that I did. Obviously, coaching wise, Coach Ruff. Even when I was younger, having Coach Smith there and Coach Mitchell early on, and then the brotherhood between the guys. I still talk to a bunch of the guys today. Actually, I was just FaceTiming B. Will last night, chopping it up with him. But we just had such a close brotherhood where we hung out all the time. And some of that is just because you're in the same quarters, with being in the dorms and camp and things like that. But even when we weren't in there, we seeked each other out and just wanted to spend time around each other. And that was the biggest thing. And that's what I took away from my times at ECU. And then, the last is having some of the best fans in the nation there. I mean, the Greenville community is all around ECU football, and they will support it through and through. And I was always very appreciative of them and how they treated me.
Well, Damon, we enjoyed watching you play, getting to talk to you, and now we'll have some rooting interest with UNLV and whatever other stops you end up making during your what's going to be a long coaching career. So we'll keep our eye on the Rebels this year. We wish you nothing but the best of luck, Damon. It's great to catch up with you, and hopefully we can do it again down the road, man.
Of course, Clip. I appreciate you having me, and hope all you guys down there in Greenville are doing well.
Damon Magazu, man, great to watch him play, and enjoyed talking with him there. And we'll be keeping an eye on the running Rebels and see what they do on the football field. Mags, the safety coach now for UNLV, as he got into the same line of work as his dad after a little resistance there to start with, but now he is ready to enjoy a long coaching career. Heck, maybe he'll end up back here in Greenville one day down the road. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Hour 3 of Pirate Radio Live on the way. We got Morgan Ahlers joining us live inside the Pirate Radio studios. We'll talk about the craziness that's going on in the college football world. Also, it's Free Beer Friday. Got a great giveaway. We'll do that also when we return on Pirate Radio Live. We're back with you after this.
Hey Pirate Nation, Lindsay Gray here with Carolina Caliber. In 1960, my granddaddy started his firearm business right here in Eastern NC. Still family owned and operated, we have the area's largest selection for outdoor shooting sports and accessories and are one of the nation's top firearm dealers. At Carolina Caliber, we have everything you need from hunting, home defense, and personal protection, including a wide variety for ladies and youth. We buy, sell, and trade. It's a time-honored tradition. Visit us at Carolina Caliber on Fire Tower Road in Winterville.
The Pirate Radio Podcast.
John Eckert from John Eckert Entertainment in California. Everybody knows who Pat Boone is. Tell us a little bit about your relationship with him.
Well, Ed Lubin, his business manager, and I were friends, and I get a call from Ed Lubin saying he has this crazy little Christian music show. Would you mind, with your gift of gab, call these radio stations and say, how would you like to have Pat Boone on a weekend or weekday radio show?
Greenville.
Listen to every Pirate Radio podcast now by visiting our podcast channel and subscribing in Apple iTunes or SoundCloud. The Pirate Radio podcast is powered by White Claw Hard Seltzer, proudly distributed by Coastal Beverage.
At U.S. Cellular, we believe everyone should get more of the latest 5G technology for less of your hard-earned money. Right now, everyone can get a free smartphone, whether you're a new customer or not, with no trade-in or hidden fees. U.S. Cellular, America's locally grown wireless. Terms apply. See uscellular.com for details.
Now that life is returning to normal, we have found a lot of good things that came from the pandemic. One of them is not having to go to the wireless store anymore. The Cellular Warehouse team has been in the business of delivering phones to your home and office for 20 years. People found out about our free delivery service and love the ease of getting a new phone, tablet, or hotspot. Call Toby Williams today at 252-799-7051 so you can start experiencing the joy of never going to a wireless store again. Cellular Warehouse, your local U.S. Cellular authorized agent.
Here with Mike Mullis from Fixed NC. And Mike, you were telling me the other day, people ask you all the time, I didn't know you did that. What does that mean?
You know, anything that involves property damage repair, call us first. If it's your crawl space, you've got interior humidity issues, a water loss, your ice maker line breaks, obviously fire and smoke, everybody knows we do those. But anything that involves interior or exterior property damage, we're your repair experts.
Mike, how can everybody get in touch with you?
252-999-0001 or fixednc.com.
For the latest from the world of golf, tune in every Saturday morning from 8 to 10 for the Golf Shop Radio Show. Hosts Mark Greenhalgh and Matt Blanchard talk golf from tee to green and everything in between. If you like golf, you're gonna love Golf Shop Radio. Before you tee up, drop on in. Welcome to the Golf Shop.
This is East Carolina head football coach Mike Houston, and I'm proud to announce that our ladies clinic is back this summer on July the 30th. This evening will provide a behind-the-scenes look at ECU football and a chance to meet the players, coaches, and their families. The evening will end with an entertaining dinner and social. Sign up today at MikeHoustonFootballCampsLLC.com. We look forward to seeing you there. Go Pirates!
For years, Callie Ann Phelps has been singing about Phelps Chevrolet.
Phelps Chevrolet is the one for you. Low prices, service too. See the big dealer right away. Carolina's finest, Phelps Chevrolet.
And you'll agree with what Skylar Phelps has to say.
Nobody beats Phelps Chevrolet's prices. Nobody.
The name you can depend on. Phelps Chevrolet.
Get you one.
Find new roads with Chevrolet. Then come find yours at Phelps Chevrolet in Greenville.
This is Pirate Radio, WGHB Farmville, 1250 and 92.7 FM Greenville, WDLX Washington, 930 and 104.1 FM Washington. You're listening to Hour 3 of Pirate Radio Live. This hour of PRL is brought to you by Bud Light, reminding Pirate fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly. Bud Light, the official beer of the ECU Pirates, and proudly distributed by Carolina Eagle Distributing since 1989. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back. You've worked hard to start your business and are working even harder to make it successful, and that's why it's important to have a bank in your corner when you need them. As the business world throws you curveballs, Select Bank and Trust is here to be responsive to your needs. Select Bank's team of local bankers can make local decisions and cares about you, the customer. Get the business services that are right for your business today with Select Bank and Trust. Bank local, bank select. Now let's head back in to Pirate Radio Live. Here's your host, Clip Brock.
Welcome back to Pirate Radio Live, hour number 3 of today's show. We will reward you for listening to this program.
Let the beat drop.
At the end of this segment, Free Beer Friday, it can be yours. A 12-pack of Bud Light Retro Summer Seltzers and a 12-pack of Bud Light Citrus Variety Pack, and a lot more goodies, including a 2-topping pizza, 2 Dominoes can be yours. We'll open up the phone lines in just a moment, but let me welcome to the show DJ Captain Morgan Ahlers.
Let the beat drop.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Good to be back.
Voice sounding good.
Yeah.
Ready? What? You know what, Morgan? I told the athletes, coaches. Let me ask you: what do you do to prepare your voice for Dowdy Ficklin Stadium, September 11th?
Never really thought about it.
Nothing. No hot tea or whatever.
If I've got a scratchy throat, sometimes I'll bring some ice in there and ice water and chew ice and try to numb it. So no, pretty much.
Okay. There's the all the prep work. Shirley, trivia question for you.
Go for it.
Happy birthday to this musician known for playing the guitar. His name is Saul Hudson, but he's better known as.
Oh,
Saul Hudson is 56 years old today.
Saul Hudson.
He is a guitar player better known as.
Is it Little E?
Yeah, that's it.
Wait, Dale Earnhardt?
Hudson.
No, no, the guitarist for Bruce Springsteen.
No.
Slash.
Slash is
it's
correct.
Slash from Guns N' Roses.
Little E.
Little.
I don't know who that is.
Pull up the E Street Band.
You talking about Van Zant?
Yes, Van Zant.
Little Steven Van Zant.
Stevie Van Zant.
Oh, the guy from Sopranos?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the guitarist for Bruce Springsteen's band. But
and
I was like,
that was a really good radio show, The Underground Garage, on one of the satellites.
So is he mafioso at all? Because,
he's from Jersey.
He just played it pretty well on the show.
Yeah, well, I'm sure
he had one of the greatest toupees ever on a show.
That is some interesting casting, though, right? Because did he ever do any acting before that?
Not a little bit, I think. I think I saw some background story on him, but he got into it because he knew the producer of The Sopranos. I think they knew each other and wanted to be part of it.
And he had a huge role on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Silvio Dante.
All right, there's your trivia. Well done. I know you like your music trivia. Shirley,
I do. I play that. I play it at home, but I played Beat Shazam last night, and
did you beat Shazam?
I could have won the $1 million, but at home. I mean, obviously, if I was in a studio with all these people and all that pressure, I probably would have freaked out a little. But at home, I was killing it.
Killing it. All right, Morgan, I want to go see you when you host karaoke and sing Nothing Compares to You in the stylings of Sinead O'Connor. Sinead O'Connor. Anybody ever do that one?
Every once in a while.
Yeah.
Most people that really don't know that song.
Yeah. It's a beautiful song.
Yeah, it is.
It's a beautiful
great song. Written by Prince.
That it is.
Yes, it is.
Morgan Ahlers, what in the world is going on in college football?
I heard about that about 6 months ago.
Oh, here we go.
And Adam Schefter called me the other day and asked me about it. I said I first heard about it about 6 months ago. And then he comes out today and says sources say they started talking about 6 months ago. I called Adam. I said, Adam, man, you're supposed to keep that quiet. And he, anyway.
First of all, it was not Adam Schefter. This is from David Hill at ESPN. But
so now that's Adam Schefter's like alias.
Oh, that's his pen name or whatever.
Yeah.
No, I commented to you that this happened like really quickly.
Yeah, it did.
At least publicly, because it came out 2 days ago. But in the article on ESPN, it says the SEC and Oklahoma and Texas have had ongoing conversations for more than 6 months.
How do you keep that secret?
That is that's in 2021, especially.
How do you
nuts?
How do you keep, unless there's only the AD from Oklahoma, the AD from Texas, and the commissioner from the SEC? They've bought burner phones and they only talk on when nobody's around. I don't see how that
slide papers across the table.
Yeah,
very low key.
But that's a really weird deal that they've got going on right now. And you look at it, if you're a coach at Oklahoma or Texas, say Steve Sarkisian at Texas, and of course Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma, are you happy about going to the SEC? I would say no. I mean, you look at it, you're saying, okay, well, we got two teams. Texas is rebuilding a little bit with Sarkisian. Who knows how that'll go, Oklahoma. But even you and I talked about before the show, Oklahoma always loses to one or two teams they shouldn't lose to.
Morgan, here's an example of Oklahoma's schedule this year. Conference games: West Virginia, Kansas State, Kansas, Texas Tech, Baylor, Oklahoma State. Would you rather have that lineup or Alabama, LSU, Georgia,
Texas A&M, Florida?
I mean, from a competitive standpoint, I totally agree with you. It makes no sense at all. But these coaches aren't making this decision.
No, it's a money decision. Matter of fact, I'm looking at it now. The head coach at Vanderbilt saying he wants to go to the AAC. Nashville's a great place to visit.
Yeah. Vandy's just sitting there like, oh boy, are they? Hey, we can still beat them at baseball, maybe.
Yeah,
they still got that going for them. Now, I did read that this move. Okay, so there is let's see. ESPN reported Thursday Texas, Oklahoma would likely owe the Big 12 upward of $76 million apiece to buy out the remainder of their grant of rights agreement.
And I heard it could be as high as $160 million.
Now, that runs until 2025. So what do you think they do, Morgan? Do they pay that money?
No, they're going to wait until 2025.
And just have, like, awkward
it could be
games?
The numbers I saw were between $70 million and $160 million, depending on what the other schools
per team.
Per team.
Man.
And that's... I don't care how much money you get off the Longhorn Network, off ESPN. That's still a lot of money for an athletic department.
Coming off a COVID year, especially. Yeah. So you think that they will just bide their time there in the Big 12 until 2025?
That's what it's looking at, yeah.
Well, it's crazy. I mean, that is a long time from now. And then you still got all these other things that are going to happen, the domino effect from this. What is the Big 12 going to do at Kansas? Could Kansas go to the Big 10? Could the Big 12 and Pac-12 team up together and form something? Does the AAC teams get involved one way or the other?
I think if, we talked about it a few moments ago, if you're the AAC, you can either take the one of two approaches. In my way of thinking, one is you say, well, we're going to get poached off, so we need to start coming after some other schools and making ourselves bigger and better right now, not wait until 2025. Or you sit and go, why don't we go after some of these other schools and bring them in? You can't tell me that Kansas State wants to play football in one of those big powerhouse conferences.
Well, again, they want money.
Well, they do want money, but I think if you're the AAC, you can position yourself. How many teams do we have right now? 11?
Yeah.
Is it 11?
With UConn dropping
so you can,
in football.
You can come up and bring in 5 teams and have a 16-team conference.
I know, that sounds great, but again, unless the Big 12 dissolves, I don't see them wanting to join the American.
The money that the big money teams in that conference are Texas and Oklahoma.
Oh, well, their TV deal, whatever it is with Fox, is going to drop dramatically.
Dramatically on that.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
They're going to sit here and go, okay, well, what are you guys going to do?
If you are a Resco, though, I agree either picking off teams or trying to form a bond, some kind of...
And he's the type of guy that doesn't sit back and wait to react to something else happening. He's going to try to make it happen himself.
He's very forward-thinking. Yeah. We have seen that, and... sometimes I scoff at when he would do the Power Six and all that, but he truly believes it. He speaks it into existence. I think he is the man, the right man for the job with the American, and has done a fantastic job. So that's in the news right now, Morgan Ahlers, and we'll have more on that as we get closer to football season. Which, by the way, I asked you, Morgan, when does ECU football practice begin? Your answer was?
I think it's the 2nd.
So that would be not Monday coming up in a few days, but a week from Monday.
Yeah, I think they all report that weekend. And
holy moly.
Can you believe it? It's awesome.
It is. And we'll have a preseason game that Thursday night, Cowboys and Steelers, which won't be a great game, but it'll be football on TV. What night is that? The 5th of August.
Really?
Hall of Fame game.
The Washington Football Club?
No, not the Guardians.
Wow. How about that, by the way?
Yeah, that was out of left field for me. Apparently, there is a reason they named him that, with something to do with a bridge in Cleveland, but I don't know.
It's going to keep out all the Canadians?
The
Guardians?
Blue Jays can't play there anymore.
Yeah.
So maybe that's...
Congratulations, by the way, for Gavin Williams signing the contract. He is now a member of the Cleveland Guardians.
He is a Guardian. And
I'm sorry, that's not a good name.
It is. It's going to take a while, or maybe never, to get used to.
And the logo. Have you seen the logo?
You mean just a G and a ball?
G with on the side with wings coming off the G?
Yeah. Not good.
Guardians of the Cleveland.
I'm kind of glad that they did this before Washington, so maybe we can do better.
Washington's back there going They got our name.
Dan Snyder wanted Guardians.
I thought you said you had a trademark on it. No, we said we were going to. We're waiting on your decision, boss.
I think I'm okay with staying at Washington football team, but I know they're not going to do that.
I think that's pretty cool.
Just it's unique.
Yeah,
it's one of a kind. We made the playoffs. We beat the Cowboys twice. We got a good thing going. Keep it going.
Yeah, they're going to put a name to it. It's going to put it in the crapper.
It's going to ruin it all, like Snyder always does. Morgan, I saw some, and again, like wrestling websites. Even if they have a check mark or it's legit, it's all like dirt sheets. But there was a report today that said CM Punk has signed with AEW.
Along with Bryan Danielson.
Which is wrestled as Daniel Bryan in WWE. Yeah. Ringside News says CM Punk signs contract. So Daniel Bryan, a.k.a. Bryan Danielson, also
supposedly has too, yeah.
This is monster news, like in the wrestling world. CM Punk, I really thought he'd never return. He went to MMA. He didn't do well.
Was he like 0-3?
As Phil Brooks, yeah. But he moves the needle in the wrestling community. And if this is true, like I'm fired up for this. This is the one guy that could return that would get me excited.
AEW is fun to watch. I can't watch it live, but I watch it, record it and watch it later, and it's a fun show. And with the other night, the main event was the Murder Hawk, Lance Archer, taking on John Moxley, formerly Dean Ambrose.
Yes.
And one of the moves that Ambrose put two chairs together back to back. Okay, so you get your back of the chairs together.
The folding chairs.
Chairs. Yeah. And then a few seconds later, he gets kicked in the gut and does that, and then Lance Archer picks him up and slams him on the back of the chairs. And I'm like, how does that not like break your back?
I think I've seen.
I gotta check the video out. It's just brutal.
I think I've seen Ambrose do that before because his wife is
Renee Paquette, which is formerly Renee Young.
Yes, and I remember like her on Twitter saying, "Why is he doing this?" So
because he's a nut.
He is a complete nut job. In fact, Morgan, I wasn't super into wrestling when it came to Minji's years and years ago. But they came to Minji's the week before a pay-per-view where Bray Wyatt and Dean Ambrose, John Moxley were going to have a TLC match. And do you remember they did like all the spots?
They practice.
In Minji's that they did on the show.
Yeah, that's what they do with the house shows. They practice what they're going to do and getting ready for their big show.
And that man loves going through a table or having chairs hit him in the face and all kinds of stuff. So anyway, there's your wrestling news for the day. The Olympics is on, I guess.
And right now they're having the Olympic of the two-string Japanese guitar.
This is an event I wasn't aware of. That is exactly what's happening on TV right now. I saw a tweet.
There's an Olympic channel?
How about it's on like NBC Sports app?
Oh, okay.
Where they just go like from
what to whatever.
Yeah, let's see what's on the other one.
No, the two-string Japanese guitar guy was like winning.
How about blackjack or poker in the Olympics? All the best of the world competing. I kind of like that idea.
I think it would be good. I don't think, unless there was real money involved, you're not going to get the best players.
Oh, that is true. You're only playing for a medal.
They don't care about a medal. They want money.
Good point. They couldn't work.
Not when you go to Bahrain for a weekend and come out with $1.5 million. I'm not going to the Olympics.
All right, you shot that down with a good answer. That was good. What sport should be added? Shirley, Chandler, Morgan, anything that the Olympics doesn't have that should be added? Cornhole? Billiards, maybe?
Didn't they
remember the Black Widow? They used to be on ESPN.
They had that at one time, I think.
What, billiards?
The problem is that some sports are featured in some Olympics and then they go away for a while, because softball was that way. The last Olympics they weren't in Rio, and then they're not going to be at the next one, but they will be in Brisbane in 2032.
In baseball,
something that
baseball's the same thing.
Morgan could have done years ago. Men's slow pitch softball at the Olympics. If they allow beer in the dugouts, would you do it?
Yeah.
I got one.
All right, what you got?
Cornhole.
You got one, you're right.
He did it again. Chandler! You got to be kidding me.
We just
every week.
We just mentioned
And
it.
you saved it for hour 3 on Friday.
I think he went longer this time because the first time he did it was like 26 seconds. I think he went closer to 2 minutes.
Chandler has a knack for repeating something we just said.
Cliff, we talked about it the other day. I believe it is that I hear it, but I'm not tuned in. But I hear it, and in my brain it goes, "Hey, that's a good idea."
I would agree with you, with the exception of you were looking at us. You were looking at us during the conversation. You were in part of the conversation. Run it back. You got it on film.
Somebody listening in says it has to be an effing bit at this point. It's not.
No.
Chandler really does
He
this
really-
every week.
Because sometimes he's thinking of one thing, doing another.
I got a sport.
Okay.
Cornhole.
Son of a...
What about, like,
How about bowling?
cricket?
Is there not already bowling?
No, there's not bowling.
Cricket is...
Well, cricket is more of, I guess you could say...
Croquet.
You know what? I'm on board with that because I would like to see if we could put together an American team to compete with the countries that already play.
I'm sure you can.
I would like to see that.
I'd like to
Because
see that.
All you have to do is go to the North Raleigh schools, formerly known as the Troy Dreyfus Cricket Association.
I'm sure he has a building named after him.
He does. He has a cricket yard and a cricket bat and those little funky things they wear on their legs.
Something close to that, bocce ball.
All right. Hey, we can do it. This is a
Beer
thing.
pong. Hey, I got one.
Badminton used to be an Olympic
No
sport.
beer
I don't
pong?
think it's...
I got one. Cornhole.
Yeah, he's not going to let that go. You know that, right?
I know.
Okay.
You know my favorite character on Young and the Restless back in the day? Cricket.
Cornhole.
You know, when they brought in cornhole to that storyline, I thought it was weird. Jack Abbott and Victor Newman were talking to cornhole, and it just got weird.
What about the spike ball? The spike ball that you play on the beach?
Foursquare?
Or something. It's like the net in the middle, and then you have to hit the ball on the net.
It's like reverse
That's
volleyball.
the game that Cliff Godwin banned at
Yeah.
the AAC tournament.
Yeah.
Because players were playing and they lost. So
Beer pong?
Beer pong?
I haven't... Yeah. beer
Redbeard
pong.
says knife fighting. Now, is that a sport?
Good Lord.
Or is that something?
No, they already had that with the little...
They have fencing.
The little pokey thing?
But I guess he's going like, you have two knives in your hands and...
Like sword fighting?
Oh, yeah. Like you're going to beat China and Japan. You know, kung fu people.
Yeah.
No, that's not going to happen.
Might be a bad sport.
They got rid of their little doily umbrella.
Does badminton still exist as an Olympic sport?
I know it did at one point.
Because I actually went up against an Olympian and didn't know it, but he was a professor at Barton College.
Shirley, you have some weird stories sometimes.
I do.
Shirley, I'm glad you asked. Coming up tonight, 11:20.
Badminton?
It'll be Great Britain versus this country's flag that I don't know. And at 10 o'clock tonight, USA taking on China in badminton.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
Look at USA's two people.
Pichu
and Archu.
And Archu. D-Chu.
What?
That's what it was. It's Ryan Chu and Philip Chu, but it had Pichu and Archu. Archu
Wow.
Pichu.
Facing off against YC Liu and JH Lee.
Oh, that's a loss. That's a loss.
Do you like Liu and Lee more than Chu and Chu?
Choo Choo.
Choo Choo. They should come in together like they're on the train.
They're going to get beat.
There was a professor, his last name was Jaggy, and he competed in the Olympics,
All right.
and none of us knew that.
What
and
a sandbagger.
So you go to the badminton court.
We went. We were like in a. It was kind of like a. It's not a gym class. I don't know what do you want to call it. The name of the course was team sports, and so one time we were playing badminton, and he comes out and he says, "Hey, can I jump in and play some?" And we were like, "Yeah, sure." We're thinking, "Oh, this professor's not going to." Whooped all of our tails. I managed to get 1 point off of him, and I will take that point to my grave because I found out later he was an Olympian. So, dude was very good. He wiped the floor with us.
He was an 86-year-old Olympian at the time.
He was in the first games there. And Will asked, are we going to talk about the realignment? Yeah, we already did, Will. You missed that. Sorry. It's happening.
No, but we're working
Josh, okay.
Cornhole could be.
Yeah, cornhole. Josh met Black Widow in 2007 when he was in Korea.
The pool.
Black Widow is female.
That's not a good look.
Well, so are you. Oh, I'm trying to.
You said it, not me.
Well, I'm glad I could take that heat. I'm glad I'm taking the heat now, so we don't have to talk about Shirley's comment about Black Widow being a female, which is pretty obvious.
You said he.
Josh, he meant Black Widow.
Oh, no. It was the sentence you said after that.
You know all this.
You know what? I'm just going to keep doing this.
Because no, you said
okay.
Yeah,
All right, whatever. Scott says there's a USA Cricket website. There's a men's and women's team.
Oh. Have they ever competed in an Olympics? Because I don't recall ever seeing a U.S. team.
I don't know if it's an Olympic sport. I will Google that up. Morgan, what you got going on this weekend?
Nothing this weekend. Worked last few nights and doing some honeydew stuff, I guess. And that's about it. Nice quiet weekend.
Shirley, it appears that there is cricket at the Olympics, I believe. Wait a minute. Actually,
at the 1990 Summer Olympics?
No, at the 1900 Summer Olympics, they were played, and that is the only time it's ever been played.
Well, at the time,
1900.
Where was that? Where were the Olympics held then?
Well, of course, everybody knows, Morgan, that they were held in
Greece,
France,
Hey. Français, mademoiselle.
Paris, France.
Variety pack.
All right, Shirley, we're going to start our Bring Back Cricket campaign. It's been since 1900 since they've had it.
Maybe there's a reason for 120 years they haven't had cricket.
You know what, Morgan? It's never too late to change.
I think
we should do cornhole.
They've got like handball, which makes no sense.
Long drive ball?
Yes,
I think
long
it's
drive ball.
How about a long drive competition? I think it's dumb.
That wouldn't be bad.
That they have BMX and that stuff. I feel like that was just put in by Americans to win medals.
Yes.
But so you know what? We need more medals. Let's do some BMX stuff.
Although the medals that are being awarded this year, I read this earlier, was actually kind of interesting. The medals are made from recycled electronics, like old phones and computers. They turned that
My old
into
VCRs are now gold medal.
Yeah, pretty
Who
much.
knew? Interesting. All right, we got to go to break. Morgan, thanks for hanging out, man.
Appreciate it.
We got to do a little something.
We got to open up a little something.
Something now.
Cliff was trying to do a little something.
Booty everywhere.
317-1250.
Yeah, boy.
Free Beer Friday, 12-pack of Bud Light Retro Summer Seltzers, 12-pack of Bud Light Citrus Variety Pack, 2 large 2-topping pizza from Domino's, shirts, koozie, all kinds of cool stuff. Can be yours if you are caller number
12. Price is right.
Caller 12, 317-1250. See you next week, Morgan.
I'll be here.
Glenn Griffin says Waffle House fighting should be an Olympic sport. All the best Waffle House fighters across the
land. Have the best bouncers at the best Waffle Houses.
There you go. We'll be back with you after these words.
This is Mark Washington with Max Sports Performance at Max Fitness. Our facility has reopened and is following all safety protocols. The best thing you can do to strengthen your immune system is, of course, to work out and exercise on a regular basis. I can assist you as your performance coach. You can also enjoy the benefits of a private facility. Avoid the crowds and work out at Max Fitness. Now is the time to get healthy. Max Fitness, just off Highway 43 in the old Ace Hardware building behind Speedway in Greenville. Call me, Mark Washington, 902-4877.
The convenience of Pitt Greenville Airport is waiting just outside your front door. Service is back, so you're connected to destinations worldwide through flights from American Airlines. Plan your next trip. Book your flights today at flypgv.com or aa.com.
Ready to travel and take a trip this summer? Avoid the long check-in lines and congestion at the big airports and fly local at PGV. Fast, convenient, and close to home, PGV has recently added more American Airlines flights. Book today at aa.com. PGV, where the pirates fly.
Hi, this is Jeff Charles for my friends at Ed Watkins Marine. I've known Ed personally for years, covering his winning performances on the football field and on NASCAR's pit road. Now Ed is winning on the water, and you get to win too. You win with awesome boat prices from Ed Watkins Marine, and of course, great service after the sale. If you're looking for a new boat, contact Ed Watkins Marine today. They will deliver anywhere. Find them online at edwatkinsmarine.com and tell them the voice sent you.
Your power's out. There's a water leak. What do you do? For these and other utility-related emergencies, you need service, and you want it fast. There are two things you can do to get the quickest response if you're a GUC customer. First, you can call the hotline at 1-855-767-2482 and report any utility-related emergency. That number is also on GUC.com. Or second, you can give GUC your phone number. The hotline process is quickest when their account records have your current phone number. Service you can count on. Greenville Utilities. University PC Care has been the Pirate Nation's go-to IT expert since 2006. Unfortunately, many organizations today simply react to IT issues after the damage is done. This is known as the break-fix cycle in the tech service industry. University PC Care's Business Services Division has a better way, a proactive solution called BizCare. What's at your office? Call William at University PC Care today to schedule your free BizCare consultation or learn more at universitypccare.com.
North Carolina State Parks is proud to announce that they have partnered with the Hometown Strong program. Our visitor centers are now equipped with public Wi-Fi to help kids with school. Remote learning has become a critical public health measure in maintaining social distance and continuing to educate our young people. Take advantage of Wi-Fi and a hike at Goose Creek State Park or a day trip to the beach and access remote learning at Fort Macon State Park. For more information, visit hometownstrong.nc.gov.
Great food, great atmosphere, and great service is Ottavola Market Cafe. Ottavola is simply a restaurant that focuses on that, being a great restaurant. There's something for everyone at Ottavola. The menu offers a variety of great choices like pastas, pizzas, sandwiches, soups, salads, and seasonal rotating selections. Lunch or dinner, Ottavola is always the right call. Call ahead and get Ottavola to go, or stop by the bar for a drink with friends. It's simple. Come and eat at Ottavola Market Cafe, Red Banks Road next to Food Lion, and OttavolaMarket.com. Ottavola, pirates supporting pirates.
In studio today was Showboat, also known as Kyle Alligood, to his friends and family. Why F3?
I come to F3 for just good old brotherhood and fellowship, and to get out to Forest Site, to come out here to get my heart and my mind right. And just being around these group of guys every day just makes me a better person.
One letter, one number, F3. Fitness, fellowship, and faith. All workouts are free of charge and open to all men. Leave no man behind, but leave no man where you find him. Learn more today at f3enc.com.
Hi, this is Phil Steele of Phil Steele's College Football Preview Magazine, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of Pirate Nation.
You're listening to Hour 3 of Pirate Radio Live. This hour of PRL is brought to you by Bud Light, reminding pirate fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly. Bud Light, the official beer of the ECU Pirates, and proudly distributed by Carolina Eagle Distributing since 1989. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back. Got damage? Damage from wood rot? Fixed. Damage from smoke or fire? Fixed. Damage caused by water? Fixed. If you've got damage, use a contractor that works for you and not your insurance company. Visit fixednc.com today or call 999-0001. That's 3 9s, 3 zeros, and a 1. Fixed NC, restore, renew, maintain. Now let's head back into the show. Here's Clip Barak.
Alrighty, back with you on a Friday edition of Pirate Radio Live. Been a great week here on Pirate Radio. I've talked to some great guests. We'll look back at some of that now as we have our week in review. All right, we've had some great guests, great segments this week on Pirate Radio Live. We'll look back at some of those now. Not included in our week in review is our position preview segment. Stephen Igo and I previewed the defensive line and the linebackers this week, so go back and check that out if you missed it. But we will highlight our interview with Harold Varner III. He joined us Tuesday on Pirate Radio Live, fresh off participating in the Open. We talked about that and more, and here's how it sounded. HV3 joins us today on Pirate Radio Live. Harold, welcome back to Pirate Radio. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
Hey, fantastic. We appreciate a few minutes of your time today. Harold, coming off a long trip home after the Open, and we'll start there, Harold. What was that experience like for you playing in the Open last week?
It was awesome. You know, obviously it's my second time, so, you know, I felt pretty good, but we got over there and the weather was perfect. it was just a great experience. It was a little different than my last experience. Like, I guess we got all the bad weather at Troon and a lot of winds, but there was not much wind, and it was just, obviously it was a bummer just how I missed the cut by one, but just, you got to do it. It's something that, when you feel like you're playing well, you want to be in those positions to where you give yourself the best chance to play against the best players.
Harold, we have this conversation in sports alike. Would you rather your team, lose by 50 or lose in heartbreaking fashion by 1? And we were following the leaderboard Friday. Your name, literally the first name under the cut line. So when you is that more frustrating? Is it the same as missing it by 7 strokes? Tell us about that.
They all count the same, obviously, but that sucks. It's just. You just think about one shot sometimes, and I get over stuff like that pretty quickly. But you'd rather miss by 1, but both of them aren't very good.
Yeah, and you mentioned the conditions. I wanted to ask you about that as well. When we think open, we think of long sleeves and dreary weather, overcast, and wind and all that. You said it, though. This time you didn't have a lot of that, and it led to some really low scores. Were you surprised at some of the scores we saw, especially from the winner, Colin Morikawa?
No, I wasn't surprised. Most link style, if there's no wind, it doesn't play very hard or very long. So I was not surprised, but the biggest thing was the no bogeys. I didn't get to watch any golf on the weekend, but making no bogeys out there, I don't care what course you're playing on, no bogeys is just so solid.
Harold, I recently had on some ECU baseball players, Gavin Williams, Connor Norby, and I asked them, once they were eliminated from the Super Regionals there in Nashville with Vanderbilt, did they continue watching baseball? And they both said yes. They're fans of the game, so they were in tune to what was going on. Now, it might have been travel-related why you didn't be able to see some golf, but if you are eliminated from a tournament or out of a tournament, do you watch it as a fan? Do you watch your peers, or do you go and do other things?
I try to do other things. Obviously being over there, you couldn't get home right after you missed the cut. That's the convenience of playing in the States. Like you miss a cut, you can usually get out that night and be home, relatively pretty quick. I will watch a little bit of golf, but I'm really good at taking naps, so that's what ends up usually happening. No, I didn't watch, but this week I actually got to go to a Formula 1 race, which was freaking awesome. Yeah, it was so sick. Obviously I'd rather be playing, but it turned out all right. Yeah, I got to go to a Formula 1 race. I got to do the hot lap before, so cool experience. Obviously I watched the Drive to Survive thing. So I started, I knew a decent amount of what I've learned on the show, and got to just be there. It was pretty nuts. It was insane.
That's awesome. And on that note, Harold, we've seen you at Panthers practice with Ron Rivera, who's now the coach of my team, the Washington football team. Thank you for firing Coach Rivera so we could get him in Washington. But you've done that. You've got your relationship with, Denny Hamlin and Bubba Wallace, the Team 23. We've seen you all around other sporting events. You've been able to do some cool stuff just being in the position you're in, being a pro golfer, right?
Yeah, without a doubt. I would totally agree. I would totally agree on that statement. Yeah, I've gotten to do some really cool stuff. That's those are things that makes it obviously fun, because obviously your time's important, but to be able to enjoy the other things helps out a lot as well. At the end of the day, though, I still love playing golf. That's my favorite thing in the world to do.
69th right now in the FedEx Cup standings, 86th in the World Golf Rankings. Harold, do you put any numbers out before the season? Do you set goals for those numbers going into each season? And what do you think about those numbers right now?
Obviously, I wish they were better, but the main goal is to make it to East Lake. For me, I just feel like I'm playing well enough to be there, and I want to get there. So I have 3 weeks off, and then I'll play Wyndham, and then the playoffs. And you know how the playoffs go. It's just all about basically just getting hot at the right time, unless you played well during the season. So I played decent, but not well enough to be at East Lake.
So Harold, we won't see you again until August 12th, Wyndham. Is that right?
Yes.
And how special is that, playing in North Carolina and Greensboro? You got fans everywhere, but I know you'll have a ton of fans that day, or those days.
It never gets old. I mean, I don't know who doesn't like playing home or close to home. No, it never gets old. I've played well there. I played well there when I've had to play well there. It's going to be nice to go there and, hopefully just get competition. That's what I've just really been missing. That's like the most fun part about the whole competing anything.
Harold Varner III joining us at a great tournament there at the John Deere Classic. Finished tied for 11th, finished tied for 2nd at the RBC Heritage. So you've been knocking on the door, Harold. What does it take, man, to break through and get that first win on the PGA Tour? It takes a lot, but how do you sum it up into words?
I think you need a little bit of luck, but if I knew, I'd already do it, to be honest with you. But it is what it is. I think if you just give yourself more chances, a lot of times I've been in position, I've always been 4 or 5 shots back. It'd be nice to go down the last hole either leading or tied or something, where you feel like you have a real legit chance.
HV3 Harold Varner III joining us. Harold, how much do you change, routine, the swing itself, the equipment during the season? Do you do it, week to week, month to month, or do you try to stay consistent and maybe retool things in the off season? How does that work for you?
I don't change too much. Try to keep, if it's a change, it's like very minimal. I don't change a lot at all. I try not to tinker. I think, the stuff I'm doing is good enough to win because I'm getting there. So I just, no sense of freaking out. Just got to do it a little bit better than what I'm doing it right now. So, yeah, you're trying to get better. It's not like you're just not doing anything about it. So you just work on the things that you just haven't been doing well on.
Harold, Bryson DeChambeau's name comes up a lot in golf conversation. Speaking of equipment, was not a fan of his driver last week. And just curious, Harold, and I don't know if you want to pull back the curtain, but as a fan of wrestling over the years, it seems like this DeChambeau-Koepka thing, is this real? Is it a storyline? Like, am I being played here? What's the deal with those two gentlemen?
I don't know, but it's great for golf. Last time golf's been on E60
yeah.
or anything on the ESPN headlines, just because, at the end of the day, if it's not entertaining, you're not going to grow the game. So I think it's good. I think it's harmless. At the end of the day, most golfers are. So it's, I think it's hilarious.
There's HV3 Harold Varner III from Tuesdays Pirate Radio Live. On Wednesday, we talked to the defensive coordinator of the Pirates, Blake Harrell. We went down all the positions, D-line, linebacker, corner, safety, and talk big picture items as well. Here's part of that conversation with Coach Harrell. Familiar name on the back end, Juwan Powell. Another familiar name on the defensive side of the ball is Demetrius Mooney for what he's done on the offensive side of the ball, playing running back. And then, Coach, a new name who has been talked about quite a bit because he came in early. And anytime you or Coach Houston brings up a name kind of unprompted, it makes my ears twitch a little bit. But he talked a lot about DJ Ford and him coming in right away. And you never know about these transfers if they're going to think that they already have a spot given to him. Coach Houston's talked about how he is working to earn his spot on the field. Very mature. The media was able to talk to him. Seems like a great young man. And I know there's a lot of high hopes for DJ Ford to come in and make an impact right away.
Yeah, a very humble young man, like you mentioned, just came in and worked his tail off and earned respect from coaches and teammates and done a really nice job of, like you said, sometimes when you get a transfer guy come in, maybe they think they've already earned something, they should be given something, but he's taking the opposite approach and earned everything that he's gotten. So just really excited about him and the direction he's heading.
Blake Harrell joining us. Blake, I guess the big news today regarding Pirate football is something that I'm going to assume you don't care much about. Maybe I'm wrong. The uniform reveal. What are your thoughts on the unis for 2021?
Oh, I think they look great, but you're probably right. I don't much care how we look in uniforms, it's how we play. But no, I think Coach Houston and some of the leadership guys and administration has done a nice job of just making sure that we are putting a product out there that with our uniforms that looks really good and really sharp, and that Pirate Nation will be proud of.
Blake Harrell joining us, Coach. This league you're in, man, some high-flying offenses. Then, of course, you've got Navy, who will come in and run that option. And last year's defensive performance against Navy might have been as good as it's ever been, certainly since Skip Holtz, Craig Hudson, Rick Smith were here in the late 2000s. But you guys went toe-to-toe on Navy defensively. How much, when do you work on facing Navy, facing that option? Is that something you implement during the off season? Do you work on it even before you get to that game week? How do you kind of manage that? Looking forward to that option offense.
We always keep our Navy package, our option defense kind of fresh. Hit on it a day in the spring, hit on it in the summer with the guys. Just kind of refreshing, and have a Navy day. And fall camp, we'll continue to do that. Just bringing it out every other day or every so many days, and just kind of running through it and making sure we don't plan later in the season this year, which is a little bit different than last year. And then throughout the season, we take practice and squeeze a Sunday night practice in there and make sure we're repping some things, not only for our defensive players but for our scout team. That's just so unfamiliar to those guys, and they just got to get used to, hey, here's what we're supposed to be doing as far as fearing in with the offensive tackle or arcing with the A-back, and however it may be there. So it takes a lot of just kind of reps to get familiar with the offense on both sides of the football.
Blake Harrell joining us, Coach. A challenging non-conference schedule for East Carolina this year, and you can look at it two ways. When we're breaking these teams down, you look at App State, new quarterback, South Carolina, new coach, Marshall, new coach. So some newness there for those first three games. That could be a positive for East Carolina, or in a preparation standpoint, could be challenging. So how do you handle those things when you look at App State, South Carolina, Marshall coming up to start the year?
Yeah, I actually got App State up on the projector right now, just kind of going through it with what seems like the 100th time. But you're exactly right. On paper, you're thinking new offensive coordinator, new quarterback, game one, new everything, game two, and new head coach, game three. Then you would think all those would play in your favor. But at the same time, defensively, you just got to be able. You're not going to have a lot of tendencies, so to speak. So you got to be prepared for everything, what they could come out with. I don't think Coach Ponce is going to change what they've done at App State. He may throw a wrinkle or two in what they did at Louisville with Coach Satterfield. And again, he's not had the play calling totally on his plate, and sometimes, so you just got to be prepared to kind of, as the game, be able to adjust. Once you get into South Carolina, you'll kind of get to see those guys against Eastern Illinois. So we saw them in the spring game, and when you kind of get a feel for what they want to be, you'll have a little bit better feel for them. And then my Marshall game three, they have the same offensive coordinator, they have the same quarterback, so a lot of their pieces are still the same. You'll just get to see how much the head coach is influencing that offense and if it's changed any by game three. So you'll feel a little bit better about that one as far as the tendencies and what they're trying to do offensively and how they're going to try to attack you more so than game one or two.
There's Blake Harrell from Wednesday's edition of Pirate Radio Live. On Thursday, we continued our ECU opponent previews and looked at the Houston Cougars. Dana Holgerson and company will welcome in the Pirates later on this fall. We talked to Ted Pardee, color analyst on the Houston Cougars radio network, and here's what Ted had to say. Before we dive into the football season, Ted, the conference realignment topic has reared its ugly head once again. Came out yesterday that reportedly Oklahoma and Texas have reached out to the SEC to potentially join the Southeastern Conference. And if that is to happen, you say, well, then what? Does the Big 12 dissolve? Does it start poaching teams? And if so, there's a Texas school right there in Houston that could be a potential add to the Big 12. How much, and again, this is pretty early on in this discussion, Ted, but how much of the talk is going on there about this around the Houston area?
Well, it's always something that's discussed and talked about, and it's the what I think is the worst part of the business, to be totally honest with you. It's like, oh man, are we really speculating at this point? There's Texas and Oklahoma. They're gonna do what they do, right? And the reality is, Houston's in a great conference right now. We've had a couple down years, so before Houston can start looking over the over the fence at somebody else's yard, they need to take care of business in their own backyard. And But as I've told you guys before, I played in the Southwest Conference. I miss the old rivalries. My son plays football at TCU. I miss being in a conference with those guys. And with Houston, if they had a chance to do that with Chris Pesman, who's one of my former teammates, he's our athletic director. Would he take that chance? I think he would. But we want to do what's right for the university.
Ted, this is Troy. Thanks for being back on with us. Great to hear from you again. Look, Dana Holgorsen, it seems like just yesterday he left West Virginia and they were announcing he was going to Houston, which I was kind of stunned at when that announcement came out, because you don't see a lot of coaches leaving what back then would be considered a Power 5 program or a conference for, a conference like the American. Usually it's the other way. Usually it's the American coaches moving up to a Power 5 conference. How is it? I believe he's going into year 3 now. Time flies. How has that transition gone with Dana as head coach now?
Well, I like Dana a lot. I think he's a heck of a coach. I think the challenge is, when you bring in a coach that has a very defined system, do you have the horses? Do you have the tools to fit that system? And so I think, our programs are similar in many ways, guys. Like, ECU is an air raid team. ECU is a great program with a great history and some incredible battles. I love some of the games that we had back in the old days. Back when Case Keenum was our quarterback, but what you have to do is you also have to say, well, what kind of talent do we have on the team? And sometimes you got to adjust your system to build around that talent. Houston was set up to run the Kendall Briles version of the air raid, and so they were set up to run 100 plays a game. They weren't set up to play ball control. And I know Dana's he's sort of I don't know what they call these guys now. It's the Reformed Air Raid Club. I don't know what they are, but Dana really doesn't. I mean, let's be honest. When you're running counter OT and stuff like that, you're not running the air raid. And so Dana has changed his philosophy, and I think he just didn't have the tools in place. Now that we're at year 3, he's had a couple recruiting classes, and of course, let's not forget all those seniors last year. They had the option of coming back. So let's see. I think the team should be poised to have their best year in quite some time. But as you guys also know, I'm the forever optimist. So there you go.
Ted, the 3-5 from last year, that's not a good record, but when you dive into it, look at the teams that Houston lost to: BYU, UCF, Cincinnati, Memphis, Hawaii. We're talking about good opponents, good football teams. So they lost to some tough teams last year, but folks obviously weren't happy with 3-5. You just kind of said it there at the end of your last answer. You're expecting a much better number there in 2021?
I think we have to. There's pressure to compete in the city of Houston for fans. There's no question that you've got a lot of choices when you live in Houston. You've got the Astros, who are doing quite well right now. You've got a Texans team that's a big question mark, and if you're a football fan, that's an opportunity for the university to get more fans in the seats. And I hate that that's the reality of it, but it was that way back in the old days when the Oilers were here and I was in college. We knew that if the Oilers had a down year, our attendance would be up because fans are thirsty, especially if you can put a good product on the field. Fans like to go see good football. And, oh man, I'll tell you, it's poised. Like this is one of the best schedules Houston has had in quite some time. Chris Pesman did a great job of swapping out a couple tough games. We had Washington State. We swapped that out for Grambling. So we made a couple tweaks to it to set this thing up to roll into conference on a roll. But the last thing I'll say about 2020, and it was a tough year, but let's not forget Houston's first 5 games were canceled. And so when I look at this year, in the month of September, we're going to play 4 games. We're going to play Texas Tech, Rice, Grambling, and Navy. Tech is tough. Rice, whatever. We should kill them every year, but Rice is always going to give us a fight. They're a crosstown rival. Grambling will be easy, and then Navy's brutal, the triple option. So, that's the setup for the season. And last year we didn't get that setup, and it showed in the play.
Just some of our interviews this week here on Pirate Radio. That was Houston color analyst Ted Pardee there. Talked to Jim Louk earlier today. We'll continue our opponent previews next week. Also, thanks to Blake Harrell for joining us on the show, and Harold Varner III this week as well. All right, as we wrap up Pirate Radio Live, just saw this that a tweet about Connor Norby that he would, I guess, go. Let's see. Let me pull it up here so I get the correct wording. But Connor Norby will potentially play for Delmarva, the Shorebirds, I believe they're called.
Yes, that's correct.
Later on this season, and they were just in Kinston last week. So if the schedule could have been a little different, we could have potentially seen him playing there at historic Granger Stadium.
And if you're on Instagram, he's also taking over the Baltimore Orioles Instagram story. So
cool.
So he'll be doing that as well all evening for their ball game tonight.
Yeah, he's going to be sent down to Sarasota for the Florida Complex League. And then, of course, that promotion to the Delmarva will come a little bit later. But it looks like we will see Connor Norby in action as far as in the minor leagues this year.
He could potentially play the Wood Ducks depending on how fast he goes. I saw in early August they will host the Woodies, so potentially he could play against them. Also, anything on Gavin, Shirley?
Yes, he officially signed today with the Indians/Guardians. And he signed for $2.25 million.
Bingo! Cha-ching!
I asked him what he was going to do. First purchase. And
buy my parents' restaurant.
He's going to buy Vinny's?
He's going to buy the whole town of Roseboro.
That's awesome stuff for a good guy, Gavin Williams. All right, Chandler, Shirley, we'll see y'all Monday, 3 o'clock on an all-new edition
see you, Clipper.
Of Pirate Radio Live. Everybody have a great weekend. Thanks for tuning in this week, and we'll be back with more football talk as we get closer and closer to the kickoff of the 2021 season. Have a great weekend, folks. So long, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Pirate Radio Live, an exclusive presentation of the voice of the Pirate Nation.